Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Hey, Wooly, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. Just want to let everyone know we appreciate your patronage, listening to the Castle Super Beast podcast, and as you have been loyally listening and enjoying the show for some time, I would like to inform you of some changes. Starting today, there will be a limit of 600 seconds per day allowed when you listen to the podcast. And so what we're going to need to do is just limit the amount of podcast everybody can listen to. Tomorrow, you can listen to another 600 seconds. And, if you do some quick maths on that, we're limiting the rates a little bit, but it's okay. And you should be able to put it all together. You'll eventually make it through an entire episode, but with 600 seconds, I mean, what is that? That's a lot of time, right?
It'll take you about 48 days to make it through an average episode.
Now, if you're a subscriber, well, you might be entitled to something a little special. We can get you some, 6,000 seconds?
6,000 seconds.
6,000 seconds sounds pretty good. Now, I don't know about you, but if I just, carry the two, yada, yada, I mean, look, you're getting...
You could actually listen to the podcast in 4.8 days.
You can cut that shit up, right? 10 minutes for 600. So, you can get an hour in there. You can work your way through it, and that's what it is. So, everyone, please understand. This is just the way we're doing business now. It has nothing to do with the massive pending, humongous amount of Bezos bucks that need to be paid to Amazon servers. And you can still enjoy.
We definitely don't owe over $1 billion in server costs that we're just saying we're not going to pay.
Yeah. So that's it. I hope everyone is able to enjoy this change. And if you don't like it, well, hey, man, go touch grass.
Hey, Wooly, I saw people saying that you're not even actually rate limited to 600 seconds of the podcast. That what's actually happened is that you personally screwed up the feed and it's DDoSing itself.
Oh, we're self-DDoSing.
And that you're just lying to cover that up.
Whoa. Well, look, it is my pleasure to offer everybody who just you get in there, use the service, and enjoy a solid, what is that, 100 minutes of podcast.
Now, even though you personally are rate limited, if you actually listen to the podcast on a different app or a different computer, you won't be, even if you use the same accounts. Don't worry about that. Well, don't worry about how that makes no sense.
Well, you better be signed in, because if you're not, then you just won't be able to access the podcast at all. And if anyone is sharing any links to any videos or anything interesting, fuck you, too bad. You're just going to have to sign the fuck in. Yeah. So that's it. Just, a little bit of house cleaning.
Wooly, did you spend $44 billion to get this podcast so that everyone would think you're cool and then wreck it?
What? Huh? Shut up. Here's a Doge. Shut up. It's fine.
I think what so ever since we're joking about Twitter, let's just make that clear. Ever since the Musk started running things over at the twitter.com, I feel like every 4 to 6 weeks there is a period in which I'm starting to add all my mutuals on different social media platforms because it looks like it's gonna go down by the end of the day.
Yeah,
and those all seemed like maybe everyone's jumping the gun, right? I got sent the absolute thumb on the pulse, which was fucking Drill going out and saying, hey, you can follow me here on Insta, you can follow me here on Blue Sky, you can follow me here on that. It's like Drill's putting a life jacket on.
Yeah, it's I mean I was literally just standing there in my pools looking at just refreshing, and I saw like you will be now limited to whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, like just the race to the bottom is pretty rough. I don't know that, like it. I think when you're this big of a platform, like my impression has always been that you don't really die, you just enter a zombie state, you know?
So that's the usual way that it goes.
Facebook, Tumblr, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
But yesterday, for large portions of the day, the site was functionally dead. To the point where you couldn't even reach out to people to tell them that, hey, here's a Blue Sky invite or whatever.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Speaking of, do you want a Blue Sky invite?
Sure, I guess.
Okay. I still got a couple.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of things that just, you know, they never die. They just they become undead, if anything. But yeah. So, good Godspeed to the burnout.
There you go, Willie.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
What I should probably do is kind of go look at what that is and find out about it.
Okay, do you want me to explain to you the new future of social media, blah 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 blah, jerk off motion?
Go for it.
Blue Sky is literally just Twitter. It's the same exact fucking thing. It's the same exact fucking thing.
Blackjack and hookers?
No blackjack, no hookers. Just like it's the same. It's the same fucking thing. No DMs.
Damn. Well, there goes the blackjack. All right. Fair enough. Cool.
It's Jack Dorsey co-founded it as
yeah,
the future, blah blah blah.
Right.
And it's like it has a dev team of like 10 people.
Yes. Okay. No. Yeah, that project he was working on after he left. I think I heard about that. Right. Like.
So
I'm gonna leave and do it again. Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking weird thing because you go to Blue Sky and you're like, yo, this tweet's doing numbers, and this tweet's doing numbers means KZ Excellent and Gigaboots liked it because they're the only people that follow you on the fucking website because it's got like a total population of 2,000.
Right. Oh man, this tweet's doing numbers.
I'm like, oh yeah, I got like 80 followers. Holy shit.
Yeah. I always just like I read that picture in that voice specifically. The dude just like, oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, you know, hey, got some stuff to go over. I had a big weekend. It was a lot of fun.
What did you do? I saw that you met a certain Meow Man.
I met a Meow Man.
And that he is a YouTuber too.
He is in fact a YouTuber too. I did get to meet up and hang out with Sir Meow Music.
My brain is completing his name to Hans Meow Man.
I mean, you can do that. But yeah, no, that was super cool. So there's a big tournament this weekend, and it's so Billy and his husband Brad came out, and yeah, I got to hang out with them. Two fine gentlemen. Just enjoyed the locals and the environment of this tournament.
You're talking about UMAD, right?
So UMAD Battle of Z. It was a 2-for-1 basically. There was a cross major going on, and yeah, Ultimate Montreal Air Dashers cross Battle of Z. They took an awesome venue space that is literally a church and turned it into an FGC event. So, like, the pictures that I posted or retweeted were just, like, you have the giant fucking, like, where the aisle would be, where the fucking tabernacle would be, you know, all that shit. There's many churches that basically are on every fucking street corner, like gas stations in Montreal.
City of 1,000 steeples, man.
Yeah. Back in the day, you know, they could not get enough of their churches, and now they can't get away from them fast enough, really.
Would you like a condo that looks like a church?
Yeah.
So, yes, I would.
I mean, the church.
every developer in the province.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, the churches are, like, architecturally fucking awesome. And, they, you know, they're really great venue events. And so the way that I was talking to the organizers, and the way that they found this place was because they went there for Beer Fest. So they went in for a beer fest that's usually held in this church. And then they're like, oh, this would be a great place to shoot, to hold an event. And I was like, oh, like, God is no longer in this house. Like, he's long gone,
No.
you know? But
Wait. That just hit me. Like, it took a second. Like, this church would be a good place to hold an event.
yes.
That's what it's for. It's for events.
But, like, as a church, there's always that, like, you know, well, we're going to decide what kind of event we'll hold. Is there degeneracy? Is there thuggery? Then no. We can't, you know. But, yeah, they had a...
I mean, like, a church is just a large-scale enclosed event space.
Yes, but the type of event is usually discriminatory, is the problem. So because this event space has been freed from the shackles, and because you know, it's now just that space, there's the ability to have a cool thing like a fucking tournament there. So yeah.
What if we did something cool with this space?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, right? I walked in there, and you know, I did notice that the spirit of the Lord was absent, so I took it upon myself to do something about it. You best believe I entered DNF Duel, and I did my hammer loops and praised the Lord, so that we can bring the spirit of the Lord back into this place. You know, so yeah, don't you worry. We got some scripture in there. It was a good time. Yeah, I mean, God. So I guess, like, for starters, walking in, I saw that in the basement there was a boxing gym, you know, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's cool.
That's cool. So I went to use the bathroom, and then I kind of walked to, and I was like, let me just stick my head in, you know, and I took a look, and I saw the setup, and I was like, hold on a minute. I recognize a bunch of shit here, and holy fuck, there's my old coach who opened up a second gym over here and has basically been teaching out of this place under a church now. And like I'm like, what the fuck? And so we just caught back up, and I was like, yo, and like literally just like the dude who I used to train with like all the time, you know, like shout outs Coach Lou, opened up a second place over there, the performance center. And I was just like, we got a fucking under the fucking church boxing gym. Like, how fucking sick is that for a setting? And everyone's doing they're grinding it out, they're doing their jabs, practicing the drills, you know, and he's teaching. And yeah, man, it was just great to run into old faces and see what's up, you know. And it was a very, like, I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. This feels like kismet, you know? And he's like, yeah, if you ever want to just come back around, hit the mitts a little bit, you know, do some bag work, just come in, even if your schedule, you know, can't work in what it used to be, come around, have a good time, you know? And I was like, yeah, I think I will. So I'm gonna see if I can make that happen, man, because like there was something like I can say is probably spiritually fulfilling about just getting in there and again working the ring, doing all the good shit, you know. And when you have the right vibes too, and like when you have especially like a cool ass coach with just lots of fucking soul and just, you know, picking you up and then knocking you down and getting you into it, like that attitude is all there. I fucking miss it. So yeah, man, that was a good sign immediately. I'm like, oh my god, we got a fucking new venue. And what's cool too is that like it's a bit of a smaller space where you can like work with like people more personally, because the class I was a part of was a much bigger one. So like you get quality time in, but you'd only get a few minutes because you had to go through like a giant class. But now it's a much smaller group, so that was fucking dope. And then, yeah, the venue itself, they had a really cool setup because basically as a FGC major, like there was basically a giant Street Fighter 6 tournament, and then there was a giant Smash event as well. So they had a really smart thing where they set it up where there's two floors. There's the upper balcony to the church, and that's where booze is allowed. You can bring your own.
Booze in a church?
Right. vraiment Québécois style, you know? You gotta fucking smoke, drink, and have a May West in the back of the church. And yeah, no, the so upstairs they had the booze and they had all the side tournaments, and so that's where like you could go up and drink, and like minors were only allowed on the downstairs area if you were coming to enter and stuff. So
that works.
Yeah.
Just split them.
That's it, you know. And yeah, there was a ton of side events as well. Like it's always fun. Like one of the cool things about UMed is that there's always the major games, but they will have a ton of TOs being like, yo, we're gonna run a bracket for fucking cyberbots. Who wants in? And I'm like, yo, let's go. Run it. I remember that shit, you know? I learned one or two things. Let's do it. So they ran all kinds of little side game brackets, and I jumped into a bunch of them too, because again, how often do you get the chances, you know? So
for a cyberbots bracket, like once every 4 to never
yeah,
years?
You know. So I entered cyberbots, whatever. I did it. I fought a little bit. I got 4th place. That's fine. You know, I did my one little thing that I learned from the Twitch Rivals event, and you know, did some carrying there. I guess that I entered DNF Duel, and that game has had like updates, and there's a new character dropping, and they've been teasing the character for a year. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that.
That DNF Duel thing might be the funniest fighting game trailer I've ever seen.
Like,
here's the new character, and it's like a 2.5 minute
not even 2.5 minutes
of them dropping combos and getting beat up.
I mean, like they do like the 18-second thing, you know, which anyway, whatever. They got their marketing plan, but there's all kinds of season changes that I was not aware of and keeping up with. But I just picked Crusader, went back in there, did some fucking Blessed Hammer loops all the way to 4th. So again, I'll take that, you know, not bad.
If you had won, would you have walked away going, yeah, man, this game is trash?
I don't even play this game. I don't even play this game.
I don't even play it.
It's the ultimate OS, the ultimate mix-up. You can't even, you know, you can't destroy it. Yeah, no, I was surprised by some of the bullshit too, because I was watching like as some of the updates involved more or less. I don't know if you remember Berserker, the character that looked more or less like a Super Saiyan with the bloody hand and the big blood. Bit. Yeah, so that game is officially like a 2-touch scenario or it kind of was that already for some characters, but you're watching him where he just literally touches you twice and that's the round if they don't fuck up everything, you know. But yeah, no, the hammer, the word of God is still good, and you know, we rock that shit. We don't do any of the new season 2 shit. That's heresy. We keep it Old Testament. And we do what the Lord bids us, and that carries us to higher in the bracket than we should be placing for a game that we don't play. But that was a lot of fun. And then they ran a Sam Show bracket. So again, really? Let's fucking go. Let's play some Sam Show.
You finally got to play Sam Show for the first time in however long with like what appeared to be human gameplay.
Human beings were there, and it made me just sad because I missed it so hard. After trying out the bad rollback that's currently underway, and again, I know that like they're working on it. They are taking the feedback. I have my fingers crossed, but like playing it properly offline, just getting good matches in was so like because I did a bunch of sick shit. You know, I had some nice reads, I had some nice deflects, I had some nice moments of just remembering how to darly that shit, and I got 2nd place, you know? And I'm like, okay, like...
game.
I don't even play this game, bro.
No one plays that game.
No. Really. You know? And quite frankly, as Jimmy Bones rolled in later, and he's like, dude, I wasn't there, you should have won. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough, you know? But anyways, it was still like... I want this game so badly, dude. It's so much fun when it has no fucking hurdles between you and the fun that it's trying to give you. That's how it really breaks down. Is just like, this can be a fucking spectacular experience if the game itself is not getting in its own way. But if an opportunity presents itself, I'm always going to jump in, you know? There's nothing that feels as good as just landing that, like, fucking heavy slash with Darley and ripping through half your life bar with a good read. It's so sick. So yeah, did some of that. Of course, Street Fighter 6. Hey man, it is
Who
what
you
it
playing
is.
now?
So
You're not.
So I put together. I definitely got the memo. Everyone blew my shit up to let me know about the Mena, and like I said last time, I'm like, I know Mena's doing it. There's some real Blanca shit out there. Shout outs Wolfgang as well, and Nishkin, and a bunch of Blancas doing work. Insane tech. I went back in. I put together a Blanca. I do have a Blanca now. It's there.
Hooray!
You know. I feel as if. I mean, a lot of people have been asking me about it, and I feel like there's a kind of a difference between Street Fighter 4 Blanca had a lot of gimmicky things, and then when I test them on you and you know how to deal with them, then I have to stop doing them and then rely on down back, just a defensive Honda style of like, all right, we're gonna get lame now, and that's how Blanca could take matches in Street Fighter 4. You can't down back in this game anymore, right? Street Fighter 6 is not about letting you do that. There's way too many ways
Honda
to open
can
you
do
up.
that, but I mean, and Guile can do that.
They can, but you got to, there's ways around it. It sucks. It's annoying to deal with, but there are things. But like down backing is way harder now. So, yeah, that is one of the things where you're like, okay, so what do you do then if you can't run that old game plan? And the answer is his level 2 and his toy, right? You throw out the doll.
And the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my fucking life.
And then you get fucking a solid maybe 15 seconds of absolute cracked out nonsense.
You get to turn into a character from a different style of fighting game for 15 seconds.
Yes. Which, think about those install level 2s. Like, that's what Jury gets to turn into a Marvel character. Jamie gets just maxed the fuck out. Like, it is absolutely like, yeah, there's some nice things that go with the transformation into having a character that can install. But you get to do that, and then it's very real. And I better have my setups labbed. I better have all my tech put together, and you better know what's coming. Because if I open you up, I'm gonna take that life.
Yeah, Blanca is like a physical JP.
But
like a body projectile
his
version
body,
of JP's nonsense.
His body is doing it, yeah. But then once the lightning beast wears off, you are back to gimmicks and whatever fundamentals you can put together. So, and of course the thing is, I think right now the gimmicks are gonna work for a lot of people that don't know or are not looking out for it. But this is my projection as to the strength of the character. He's really, really good if the person has not prepared, and if they have, then you can create opportunities. Airball is always going to be good. But yeah, I put together a Blanca. I'm rambling, whatever.
I feel like, and this is from the other side of it, I feel like Blanca has more gimmicks this time.
So
like in Street Fighter 4, he had gimmicks.
Yes.
And I didn't really see much of him in 5, but I feel like he has, like, they're the same types of stupid hopping around, screen space. Oh, I'm in a weird cross up with the ball shit. But I feel like he has more.
Yes.
There are more of them to do.
And those are coming from Street Fighter 5, right? So the command grab that hops at you, for example, is a...
What is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's a holdover from the last game, as well
Street
as...
Fighter 4?
Yeah, well, no, there was one in between.
There was?
Yeah, and that's where the different arcs of his up ball as well became so drastically different. They held over a lot of his Street Fighter 5 design, as well as the coward crouch hop stuff, all of those things came over. So the gimmicks are implementations into his new character design, essentially, as a setup lab trap character, yada yada. But it's there. It's possible. It's gonna take, like I said, someone's willingness to go in and make sure they know how to deal with this. And I think anyone that you get blown up by, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, fuck this. I got to go figure it out.
There's something that's happening to me in ranked matches, which are still fast and furious, which is incredible. Which is the character popularity is influencing the strength of matchups. Like Dalsim and Blanca, I'm fighting one a day.
Yes.
If that.
Yes. This has all the unknown factor has always been real. I talk about it a bunch of times. I always say it because it's simple. It's like Dalsim is the least popular character on the roster. Yet yesterday, a Dalsim player, there was two Dalsims in top 8, one of which made 3rd place. And quite simply, they're good players, but if you also just don't have the experience fighting against them, you're not going to know about the tech. You're not going to, you're not going to know about all the wild shit that they've come up with. And if you're seeing juries every day, you're going to get used to the sneaky shit jury can do.
Yeah, like jury and JP are excellent. And I see them as 40% of my total matches.
And then another thing as well, which this is and also Ken is way the fuck. Yeah,
boy, I'm learning that Ken matchup.
Yep,
a lot.
Everyone is. Ken and Jury are up there, right? Ken and Jury are doing really well right now compared to the rest of the cast. Now, I always say that it's really, you don't want to ever start talking about tiers too early and stuff because it's really silly when the game is barely out of the gate. But
there is one actually very interesting discussion to be made about tiers. I forget the gentleman's name. I retweeted it earlier this week. Mike Ross found it, so maybe I can find that.
Okay.
But it's a Japanese player who has hit master rank
with everybody,
every single character in the game, and then put their tier list out. And it's like, that's not objective for the world, right? For different players. But it's a decent start.
Oh, it was High Tiny that did it? Okay, yeah,
High Tiny.
High Tiny's a fucking god. Yeah,
High Tiny.
Yeah. Okay, absolutely. That's that is credibility right there. And it's interesting too because Japan has their feelings about things. Like Japan currently feels like Luke is like way up there, and Luke is amazing.
Here, I sent you the tier list.
Luke is amazing, but America is kind of like sleeping on it a little bit, here and there. But we're seeing more, and the results are coming in. Anyway, but all this to say that it is inevitable that people's become obsessed with tier lists because it's like, one, it's the categorizer within us wants to put the labels up and stack everything, and two, we want answers to why we're struggling and where we're at and how things feel and how much the character is carrying me or how much I have to work harder against the character who's actually just better than mine, right?
I recently had this feeling extraordinarily strongly. I did a stream on Canada Day for a couple hours where I'm like, I should learn how to play Manon because Manon is clearly just better than Geef. It's same basic archetype, but just much better. And what I discovered is that I have a long fucking way to go before my Manon is any better than my Geef.
No,
even if she is like, high A or whatever the fuck.
Because you've got 30 years of Geef memory.
Of Geef, yeah.
And those fundamentals, cannot be quickly learned. The instincts you have in how to move with them, when to grab, when to knee, when to approach, and how to space things out just a little bit, you tweak them between games, but that memory is core.
Yeah, I discovered something very interesting doing that. Very interesting. And what I figured out is the reason why I feel so comfortable with Geef is because Geef's drive rush is terrible. Because Geef's drive rush is so awful, he actually has very, very few options and reasons to use it, which means my Geef game plan occasionally uses drive rush, but not a lot. Whereas with somebody else who is better, like Manon has a lot of good uses for her drive rush, but I don't know how to do them because I barely use drive rush.
Interesting. So I'll say that the strong Geefs I fight make generous use of drive rush because as a mechanic, it is just great for the entire roster. But some people get it better than others, right? We were talking about DJ the other day. DJ gets the best drive rush in the game in exchange for the inability to do a crouching medium kick into a drive rush, right?
He also seems to have no real overhead, which
he has it out of Just Cool. It's baked into the mix.
Yeah, but that's long. That's a long overhead.
Yeah, it's still baked. It's baked in the mix. There's a high low.
No, but what I mean is Ryu and Guile and Jamie are doing overhead, and Jury and Ken are doing overheads into stuff, whereas fucking DJ's overhead is a knockdown.
So what you're often getting is the drive rush into overhead, and then you get plus frames for doing a combo. But
you get to do stuff.
So you have this thing where the feeling of like wanting to know where my character's at and how much like and there's even like I like there's the 4D tier list where it's like okay, it's not like it's not S through F, it's actually has faults, has less faults, and then requires effort or carries you, you know.
Yeah, that's a nice.
It's an interesting.
I saw people talking about Ken for that that like metric, in which I was learning Manon or trying to learn Manon, and was like, well, I'm like, she's top tier, right? And somebody responded, well, she can't be top tier because she needs to take risks at all, unlike Ken, who doesn't need to take risks.
And
I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And some of these strong players that we have that I was, like again watching this weekend, like there's Rami, a really strong player from Montreal, who basically switched off of Manon to messing around, to playing with Ken for now, because like he's like, yeah, there's just too many things here that I don't like. She has to put herself out there, and the process of being consistent at this game is minimizing how many risks you have to take, right?
Like Manon excels at putting people into 50-50s, but what if you didn't need to have a 50-50? What if you had a 100-0?
Yeah, the difference between the strongest players and kind of strong players and people that are a little better than average is how much they're able to eliminate the need for a guess, right? And to be perfectly honest, the strongest players that make it as far as they can go in brackets, there's barely ever a moment where they don't already know what they're about to get going next. They have sequences, and then when you do something to change them, they shift into another lane of pressure, right? So if you're kind of like, just if you want to, it's a lot to think about, certainly if you're especially getting used to the ropes, but if you just want a difference between how the mentality is working at high level versus at mid or low level, like a lot of mid and low level is like, let me try something. Okay, it didn't work. All right, what should I do? Okay, maybe this might work, right? And that's not happening at higher level. At higher level, it's like, no, we've got lanes, and we're jumping between them, and then we go like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do a crazy one here that they haven't seen yet. We got an opening, run the sequence, you know? So what ends up happening, too, now, as a result of all that, is there are tier lists. However, there are tier lists that are massively different based on your skill level.
Yeah.
If you are a beginner, that is a different tier list compared to if you are a fucking master or an expert.
I forget who put it out, but somebody put out a tier list based on modern mode. And it was totally different from all the lists we're seeing. Like Geef, like at beginner levels, is unequivocally the best character in modern mode, because the ability to use a one button SPD against beginners,
unbelievable,
is the best thing that's ever happened to anyone in a fighting game.
Yes, because here's the thing. From level 0, I've never played this video game before ever, up until like I've gotten comfortable and I can do my stuff, but I'm still kind of like taking guesses here and there. There's always going to be a moment where somewhere in pressing buttons you are no longer safe, and when you create an opening, you're not looking for somebody to, like, you're not expecting to be thrown, so you're going to be getting tossed by someone mashing that one button SPD on you, you know? And there's a lot of characters who have things like that where, like, this is actually something that is a solvable problem, but when you don't know enough about the game, you don't know the answers, it feels unsolvable, so this character becomes higher in the tier list, right? And this is where, like, you know, you're like, Guile is really nuts. Like I said, he can do so much, and it takes a lot of work to like put him in his place. But as if the lower you are, the more of a beginner you are, the more impossible that feels. Geef similarly, because of the way command grabs force you to play around that. You have to change your play style when you don't even have a play style yet. You know, a knowledge check character is asking you to like approach them the way they demand you fight them on their terms, and you're like, but I barely know what my own terms are.
Right.
So this is all very important, you know, to kind of keep in mind when you're thinking about like, oh, this character's top tier or bottom tier, and oh, the character that I use has this or that advantage. It's like the advantages that you might be thinking of are ones that don't even factor into your gameplay. So don't worry too hard about that is, I guess, the bottom line of what I'm trying to say. Don't get obsessed with the tier list too much, you know. Just pick a top tier, okay. You don't know why this person might be top tier. So if you pick them, you might not get that carry that you're looking for, you know? And in general, let the game cook. Let it simmer. Give it a second. See what happens. I guarantee you there's 15 things about every character that are critical that you don't know yet. You know?
Oh, absolutely. I'm in a strange place because I always play grapplers. And tier lists are obviously not mandatory. They're not set in stone, and to some degree they're not real. But I have to admit, I do have a little feeling in my chest that is like, okay, I'm playing Jamie and Geef, and every fucking list I see puts the two characters that I want to play at or near the bottom, and just that little spark of like, oh, just give me a good character for what? Can I play? Oh,
Yo.
like the one game that I played in which Geet was really good, like really good, was vanilla Street Fighter 4, except he had like a fucking 1-9 matchup against the best character in the game. So I lost all the time. Like, oh!
You know, at the same time, it's like, there's always that, and like, welcome to the dice roll from me picking based on who I think looks cool. You never know what's going to happen, you know? But there's always the heroes with the character that show you the way, right? There's always people that are like, yeah, and I'm just going to defy those odds and do something insane. Because there's always that moment of like the idea where your character sucks until someone invents them and shows you that they don't, you know? There's always the Koji Cog who whips out T-Hawk and everyone goes, T-Hawk is garbage. And he's like, oh yeah? Okay, hold this. Condor Spire. What? You know? And like, or we always talk about Gamer B, right? But like, it's that moment. So you don't have to like sweat that part of it too much. And if anything, thinking about that whole, like, there are different skills, there are different tier lists for different skills, right? Honda is fucking S tier if you're a beginner. If you're a beginner and you're playing Honda, you're gonna beat everybody. You're gonna, you know, like I bet you, like, you're gonna go, like, I'd say all the way up through gold, all the way up through, like, you know, like, it's ridiculous. Like, there's no way, you know, that anyone knows how to handle that and is ready for it, and it just feels impossible to surmount, because of the particular way that he has his advantage. You can actually do things about it. You can parry if you've got armor, you can break it, you can predict he's going to do the up splash, and you can jump back and air throw him. There's a couple things you can do and overall let him hang himself, but it takes a lot of work, you know? So once you start seeing people that are like, oh, I see the answer, I can implement it right away, Honda starts to not be as good, you know? But up until you get there, it's a whole fucking wall to climb. And, you know, hey, again, this is where it's like, do you want to hit that button that says train against my opponent's character? You know? Because that's a really great button after your ranked matches, right? But yeah, so anyway, though, Street Fighter 6, that's the thing. I put together a Blanca, but at the same time, I worked harder on Marissa, and because I'm really feeling it. I really like her.
I should put more time in her. She's so cool, but for whatever reason, she didn't gel with me. But like, I'm realizing somebody made a comment that like mocked me in a way that actually opened up part of my brain. Like, I don't get it, man. I pick every character on the roster, but nobody like speaks to me except for Jamie and Geef. And somebody made like some snide comment of like, characters that feel like characters you've been playing for decades feel familiar. Newsflash. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, okay, fine.
That's real. No, listen, continue to Shang Tsung. This game is great for it. Continue to Shang Tsung. You know, at the very least, if you play a character for a bit and they don't click, you'll understand what you're fighting against next time. You know, but that's a great point. And yeah, man, it's always like I always have these moments of like I'm definitely it's not character doubt or anything because I can feel long term when I'm like I see the problems, but now I just see mostly potential, and and what I see is my weakness is highlighted. And when I'm looking at my Marissa and where I choke and how I choke, for example, I choked in pools, right? In this bracket, I drowned in pools at quarterfinals, and I lost a Marissa mirror, and I was like, yep. That's happened to me at the last event too. I can see that weakness.
That's a useful thing to lose out to, though.
I like you can take a look at what was different about your playstyles, but I generally don't like mirror matches in this game, especially with her, because there's just a whole lot of nonsense armor breaking bullshit going on.
The Geef mirror is really stupid because whoever hits the hard punch second wins the footsie exchange.
Yeah. And and like in Marissa, it's like whoever lets go second wins, but in some cases not so, because whoever starts
Gladius, because Gladius will punch through.
So sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Depends on what you did. And it's crazy, right? It's just a lot of glass breaking. It's wild. But and then I got JP'd out pretty hard after that. But what I was gonna say is, at the same time as looking at that and going, all right, I gotta figure this shit out. The next day there was the Red Bull Kumite, and Big Bird just took his Marissa all the way through and ran a fucking train on everyone. And you're like, oh my god, I have work to do. You know, if you have the right fucking attitude, if you have the right ability to adapt and just do the big damage, do the fucking 7K combos, you're going to be like, yeah, okay, people have to be afraid of this no matter what. It's all about being a bully. And in some cases too, it's interesting because he really didn't whiff a lot, and I kind of see where myself where I'm like, I'm trying to play footsies with characters that have like great normals that just blow me the fuck out, punish walkbacks and things like that, and he's just confirming everything, So
I had a bit of a I didn't talk about it last week because it wasn't super on point for the topic, but the specifics of you describing your Marissa play does unfortunately make it relevant. So last week I was playing Street Fighter, and my wife, wonderful wife, Peach Saliva, brought me a food. So I was like, oh, I'll eat a food. Well, I'll watch something. I'll watch a Sayjam video. Why not? People recommended me a Sayjam video called "You Don't Need Good Reflexes to Whiff Punish."
Yes,
because I was in the middle of playing sets complaining about I am a dog shit whiff punisher.
Okay, Sayjam's Street Fighter 6 content is impeccable.
It's great. It's fantastic.
He's been doing such a good job explaining things that are like obvious concepts for the last 20 years, but they're not necessarily communicated to and it's not super intuitive if you're coming into this and you don't know about it. He's doing a really good job with it.
Okay, so
I know the one you're talking about.
And somebody in the chat goes, what is almost his chat, it's an old video, says, my reactions aren't fast enough to whiff punish, and he just looks right at the camera, goes, stop typing on your keyboard. And I'm like, oh fuck, that's exactly what I've been saying for like an hour. And then he shows off like, oh, okay, whiff punishing isn't whiff punishing. And I feel like that language has actually trapped me for decades.
Amazing.
Because he even goes so far as to like, whiff punishing is not, I saw what you did and reacted with my perfect laser eyes.
But what is
super fast to, it's doing something that looks unsafe, but it's not really unsafe and gives you good spacing, and then just waiting for them to do anything at all, see any movement, and then tapping the good button. And the one that killed me is he shows off that the best way to whiff punish with Jamie is to do Jamie's standing roundhouse.
Pop.
Wait a second.
Pop.
And then do another standing roundhouse.
Absolutely. Punish counter.
And I'm like, oh
big
no.
damage.
Oh, I've been stupid for 20 years.
Isn't that amazing?
I've been stupid for 20 years. And it's all because, well, one, nobody explained the right way to me. But two, it's not whiff punishing. It's not what it actually is.
So don't go too hard now. Hold on a minute. So there is a large category called whiff punishing. And whiff punishing, for those who don't know, whiff, WHIFF, punishing is when somebody whiffs a button and then you hit that button on its recovery and then get your combo out, right? You're playing a game of like fishing for something. But what you saw there when he was describing how to do something how to get a whiff punish without having the reaction time for it, that's called a spacing trap. There's a term for that, right? A spacing trap, like a frame trap, is automatic. So a frame trap is basically, I'm going to hit a button, and then that button is going to let me act first, so that if you try to do anything, the next button I hit will beat it, right? And you don't have to actually like think about whether or not something else is coming there. You just hit 1 into 2, and then sometimes you'll get that hit if they press the button.
So for my personal experience, Zangief's forward headbutt, if it hits, I'm gonna win the exchange. Like nothing is fast enough to beat the advantage I have off of that if it hits.
Yes. So make no mistake, top players, good players, people who are very strong, when I'm fucking, playing anyone who's really good at this game, there's that thing where they're looking at the button that I'm pressing in front of them, seeing me whiff it, and with their reactions, hitting a button to blow it up, right? There's a saying, there's a lot of little like fucking MTLSF sayings, one of which is don't test reactions, because it's like, no. If we're standing here in neutral and I put something out there and you walked back in time, I have the speed to see it, call it out, and hit my best button, and then get a big punish on it. That is a clean whiff punish in the same way you thought of it for the last 20 years. That is based on pure reaction time. However, in addition to having that skill, I also have some pre-baked spacing traps. And what a spacing trap is one, it's something that does not require me to even know or react to what you're doing, because I'm going to hit you with a thing at the tip, and the buttons that you usually would press to like exchange to come to take your turn afterwards are actually going to fall short, and I know they're going to fall short because I've practiced this exact tip distance. So I'm going to hit the button at the tip, then you're going to do something, and that thing
I'm going to wait a half second.
Give it a second,
that you can hit a button,
and then automatically I'm going to hit the next button and punish the thing that you did. That is, and that's all dependent on spacing, not based on reaction time. And once you layer in all of these things into your gameplay, you start to turn the 50-50s into 75-25s into 100 zeros. You start going, okay, I know at this distance I can do this, and then this comes next, and now you cannot go all the way. There's a limit to how far any given technique will take you. But
you can't do that 5 times in a row.
No, and you're going to fight people. You're going to fight people, unless people don't adapt, right? In which case you can just test them and see what's up. But you're going to fight people who do have the speed that you're afraid of, that you're like, I don't have that reaction time, and they do. That's going to be a problem. But they do have little tricks like this to make up for it. And there's a lot of making up for it that goes into a solid game plan, So that's exactly a perfect, thing about footsies and such. And the layering of getting good at footsies is like the same information you have about how to play a good Geef. People who have been playing Street Fighter since World Warrior forward and getting good at it have that baked in information, Like Reggie's footsie game is incredible. It's fucking super strong.
He's been much better than mine.
He's been playing fucking Ryu for goddamn the history of the thing, so it's all in there, but you can make up for it with these little bits, what I can do.
I'm watching Big Bird just beat the piss out of JP in this Kumite fight, like holy hell, right? So Gladius can call out some buttons as well. I can just nope, I don't think so. But there's downsides, right? In this particular tournament, I was running some long casuals with a really good Kimberly player called Dimensional. Shoutouts, he's a really cool guy. And we basically, I was seeing myself whiffing Gladius, kind of like, Big Bird does some big whiffs, right? And I was seeing myself whiffing it, and as soon as the fist was out, from the maximum distance, he would just blow my shit up,
hit me with like a standing medium kick, and then go into an insane full Kairi combo to all the way to the corner. And I was like, yep, there's a risk to everything you do here, you know? So anyway, not to get too long-winded on it, but there's little things you can do, you know, and these tricks will help you. And of course, things to go study. Like, I gotta go look at the tapes. I've been following most of how Big Bird's been rocking the Marissa, but like the fact that the proof is in the pudding there, and then you see the Mena Blanca, it's like, all right, man, okay, Wooly, you got to do it. It's on you if you want to improve. You know, you got to find those holes in your play and fill them with pseudo defenses, right? At the same time, I also saw a bunch of stuff this weekend where it was like a ton of characters have little tricks where in the corner they'll do a combo, and then they'll do like a little reset. They'll tap you, you'll flip out right into a drive impact and splat on the wall.
So, I stole this from one of Sajam's videos, but when he stole it from somebody else's match footage,
it's tech.
But like, Jamie has his level 3 that pops you up, and then you jump up in the air and do the heavy kick, just pop, and then they land into light kick, into drive impact, into a dizzy.
Yep, and that's so I lost to that at too many games.
It's so cool,
right? And then I was watching a Wolfgang video where it was like straight up, it's like, oh no, I've seen that before, and like pop, kick, flip out, counter drive impact right away. You know, it's like, I've seen this setup before. You're not sneaking that in there. And a bunch of characters have that setup. So it's now on you who hears this to go, let me see what that setup is for these characters, so that when it happens to me, I'm ready for it. You know, and this is independent of whoever you're playing as and your game plan. It just doesn't hurt you to know that this little trick in the corner might happen to me. You know. Anyway, moving on, because we can go. But Street Fighter 6 was a great time, and shout outs to Rami, as well as Chunk Brixon, who I did commentary with in Top 8.
That's a great name.
Yeah,
that's an incredible name.
It was a very fun Top 8, and Flux Waves took it again, you know, but like was challenged by this new kid, Zycles from Ottawa with Spunk, who basically showed up on the scene and was like, "Hey, nice to meet you guys. Run the set, money match me right away." And like was like straight up going for money matches and pools, and just being a little gremlin in the bracket, you know, like was like, oh, don't, he's like, I think you guys underseeded me, you know, I don't want to cause too many upsets. And they're just like, okay, well then prove it. And then he got to fucking grand finals, so he proved it, you know. Kind of incredible just watching that kind of attitude, and the young man reactions. He's got the moxie. You know, that kid is fucking, he's doing it. He's putting in the work and he's showing it off. But like, but Flux Waves is just too much of a wall.
Money matches can be dangerous. You got to be careful with that. I think we might have a news story about that this week. Oh, do you not?
No, I do not.
Are you not familiar with the past week's $10,000 money match?
Oh, yes. Okay. Right.
Is that not on the news docket?
I didn't register it as a money match because to me it was become a furry match. That's what I registered it as, because there was no chance that money was going to be exchanged. My bad. My brain didn't put together the stakes.
You want to talk about that now, or you want to talk about that later?
So as Sonic Fox put it, an NPC basically was talking shit and going off about
He's been playing fighting games for 11 years, man.
Going off about how he can beat Sonic Fox and how he's garbage and free, and also basically weirdly worshipping low tier god, like weirdly. And it was a very odd, unstable seeming, but whatever the case was, you know, Sonic Fox was like, I got 10 minutes, run the set. I'll put up $10,000. If you beat me in Mortal Kombat, I will pay you $10,000. And if you lose, you have to become a furry.
And the guy took it.
and then jumped on stream, and like before the stream even started, like was
problems right away.
right away. Didn't have PSN, I believe.
Yeah, no, my credit card got declined when I tried to buy. Oh man,
right,
it's so weird.
Had to get PS Plus set up, and then also was like calling in from underwater. And basically, like, as the game got closer and closer and the quality of the call got worse and worse, they're on the character select screen, and you're just hearing, again, the dude that was talking
a lot of emotions,
talking shit, going, "Oh my god, it's happening. Okay, cancel the set, man. Just cancel the set. No. Yo, stop the stream right now, bro. Stop the stream. Stop the stream." And you're just like, "Yeah, no, this is what happens, guys. Like, sometimes words have consequences, and if someone calls you on your shit, like, you need to learn from this, right? So here, let this be a lesson to you." And then Sonic Fox just proceeds to RoboCop the shit out of this dude.
Effortlessly. It's not like...
you've never seen that much teabagging. It's like literally...
Probably wasn't even looking at the screen.
Shooting and teabagging and shooting and teabagging, and just ran through him. And he's like, "Oh man, I haven't even played this character in months. And just every John you can come up with, and then I got to do it for low tier God. I got to do it, man. You got to get your account back, man. Just get, we can't wait any longer, man, please." And it's so embarrassing. It's like the fucking cringe is seeping in, and like I'm like, I don't know what state this person is in, but like it seems unwell. Like the cracking you're hearing on the call is like, yeah, this person probably goes through life saying shit and never having to deal with the consequences of saying that shit, And
so, he lost, and then Sonic Fox gave him a mercy, literally mercied him, gave him some health back.
Oh.
Then beat him again, and then like the part that kills me is like him casually hitting start.
Goes to the fatality,
to find the one he likes because he knows exactly how much time there is.
Like that's the bit, right? You have the time, you can, and like you go to it, or I mean, there's even the quick input or whatever. But regardless, you fucking you get the mercy into the explosion fatality, and then like that's it. And like again, the post-set interview is just like, okay, question 1. How does it feel to get your ass beat by a furry? And just like the dude just like says his random shit and then like disconnects and runs out of there. And then Sonic Fox is like, "All right, well,
they're a furry now.
Can any artist friends help out with getting our new furry friend acquainted, or whatever, getting set up?"
This is going on, this particular person is yelling on social media that for some reason that it was an illegitimate wager, that they weren't going to abide by it, that they weren't going to do it until Sonic Fox beat them in Apex Legends next.
I didn't hear part 2.
Okay. And then just says, no, I'm not going to do it. At which point it becomes decided by Sonic and many others that this gentleman is now a duck, and the commissions start to go out for like John's the duck, basically.
I mean, I remember when I was hearing, so I remember there was a set, and then I remember like seeing the artwork of the duck coming through, and not just any duck, a duck with its beak rotated around its face, Daffy style, just getting completely annihilated. And like I remember him going like, "Oh yeah, Apex though, see me that," or whatever, and it's just like, all right, this is and I just like lesson to everybody. This is the person on the other end of that mic in Call of Duty talking shit and going off, right? This is the type of individual, someone who's just not there. And you can't I can't understand the spirit of the person that's like, I'm just going to triple down. You know what I mean? On my bullshit. But I guess the idea of the $10,000 is like, no, you have to take this opportunity.
You have to take it.
What if you win $10,000?
What if Sonic Fox had like a fucking heart attack by accident in the middle of the set and you technically won?
I mean,
they owe you.
Like, it's crazy. So that's exactly it.
So then part 3 is them escalating their they weren't handling it well. I'm just gonna say they weren't handling it well. And I don't know what happened, but they're definitely suspended from Twitter because I went to go look at their
well,
their
there we go.
tweets
There we go.
for context. But I'm gonna assume they escalated it to handling it more poorly.
I mean,
so they have basically died. Their name was associated with their person. People who play those games, I'm sure, will remember this dude forever.
Yeah,
his PSN name was on there. Like
at some point, right? You can look at the situation, assess it for what it is, and pull the fuck out, right? And everyone would go, yeah, no, just that's crazy. Leave that alone. But when you don't, when Sonic Fox is like, nah, nigga, let's go, sit your ass down. You gonna learn today. I love it. It's beautiful. You know, sometimes you could arbitrarily choose who needs to be made an example of, and God bless, because it's like
what this reminds me of?
This new wonderful open shiny bridge that the FGC has provided via Street Fighter 6 for all the newcomers. We want that new hype. We want that new excitement. We want everyone to love and enjoy fighting games, and we just want that reminder that if you keep going past the bridge, it kind of closes off to a little street, to an alleyway, to a cul-de-sac. And at the back of that cul-de-sac is a fucking table and $20 on it. And it says, run the set.
Yeah.
And we're waiting. If you want to go in that alley, we're waiting. But we can enjoy the modern bridge in the meantime.
This reminds me of a weird phenomenon that you can test for yourself with your group of friends. And it's people across different genders, ideologies, nations of origin, religions, and political affiliations will differ somewhat consistently about what animals they believe they can beat in a fight.
Right.
So, like, certain types of people will, like, more strongly overestimate what kind of animals they could defeat in hand-to-hand combat.
Sure.
And it's the equivalent of, like, this is the personality type of somebody who, yeah, I could probably beat a bear with my bare hands. And then you just escalate it to, okay, here's the pit. Go fight the bear. And then they cry as they enter into the pit to be mauled. And it's like, you're not going to beat the bear. Sonic Fox is the bear here, ironically enough, the animal analogy. But
need I just quote the news story? Last words a man utters, that alligator ain't shit.
Oh, yeah.
As he gets killed by an alligator.
Yeah.
Like, what more do you want?
I can beat up an alligator. No, you can't.
What more do you want than that, right? The human condition in all of its glory.
I love it.
Yeah, so that was great. That was a fun little story for sure.
So my way of finding out about that story gave me so much joy because I found out about it from the first response by Sonic Fox, which was the challenge. And I showed it to Paige and I was like, man, that's really funny. Ha 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 ha. And then forgot about it. And then 2 or 3 days later, I saw people saying, wow, that guy's not handling it well. And I got to have the emotion of, like, that dumbass took the fucking challenge?
10K! But what if I win 10K?
You're not gonna!
So, like, I was having the conversation about this with Sir Meow Music, you know, about exactly all this shit going on. And the hilariousness of that, because it was also, you know, his first, like, major tournament, right? Like, first big FGC event, as well as that kid I was talking about with the Moxie that got second place. It was his first major tournament as well. Unbelievable. Fucking kudos. But yeah, we're talking about, like, just the fact that you can come in and just have a great time sitting down, playing casuals, watching the matches, making friends, and, you know, overall getting to see some cool shit that you didn't know, and finding someone that can, like, maybe teach you a bit, and finding someone you can teach a few things to, and it's a great feeling. It's a cool vibe, you know. And it was a 3-day event, so there was more than enough time to just, like, relax, chill, get some games in, you know. But like, what I was kind of what we were talking about essentially was just how, like, when it comes to the whole, like, when people are afraid of the old FGC thuggery era, like the disinviting gameplay decisions, the disinviting community things, the idea of the toxicity and all that stuff, right? It's like that. These are all facets because it's a community made up of people, and people come in all sizes, shapes, and colors, creeds, whatever you want to, So
some people,
but what
are
ultimate,
really cool.
But what
other people are complete pieces of fucking shit.
And what ends up happening in a lot of cases, which if you just only are like catching one side of this, you won't necessarily be aware of, is that you get back the energy you bring in, right? So if you're showing up looking for a chill vibe with trying to get some casual games, trying to play, have fun, meet people that are similar minded, and like, again, maybe learn something, or maybe just, mess around with new games and stuff, that's what you get back. And there's tons of people looking for that exact same thing. And if you come in kicking doors down, screaming, holding up your controller, going, Christopher Jesus, you challenge me right now. You ain't walking on water. I know you just won Marvel, but see me in the set. I'm the real final boss. You get that energy back at you, like
from security.
Yes, you get that. You get all that. If you're fucking throwing sticks, if you're throwing punches, if you're going wild, you're getting all that shit in there. You're gonna get that energy back at you. So like, all of that, like, if you're someone who's new and you're like concerned about like that aspect of it, I'm gonna get stabbed at the arcade stories type of thing, it's like, then that is if you bring a knife in to stab someone who throws you. You know what I mean? It's a mirror that is gonna shine back your experience. And if you want that heat, if you want that smoke, then there will be someone who's at the door going, hold on, sir, just a moment, we'll find you your appropriate like playmate. Here is a fucking monster who's gonna come in, scream at you during the whole set, stand up with his crew and yell, get motivated, white boy, get motivated, while you get overheaded into launchers, into X Factor loops that you can't handle. Like, this is, if you want that, you're gonna get it. But if you're looking for a chill time, there's so much chill to be had. It's very important to let the people know about that. But anyways, so yeah, again, just a really, really good time. Something that was real fun as well, I want to bring is like, there was a game that was announced. I tweeted it out a couple times. They showed up to the event, Checkmate Showdown, the fighting game, chess game. Have you heard of this? Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
So I'm happy they showed up, because I've been like, yo guys, let me get my hands on this. I want to know. I want to play it. And it's chess, and then when you get into a fight, you get into a fighting game round, right? So cool as a concept. So they've really cleared, like, I know that they went through a couple different iterations, and they're making they're working. They brought a couple versions to some earlier tournaments. They prototyped it with some fighting game players, and they're also working with some chess experts. And chess.com is working with them as well. And they basically have this game set up where, okay, so you have a chessboard, you have your pieces, and they're cool looking, like army pieces, right? And when you move your pawns are still just normal pawns. They will eat and get eaten in one move the way they would in any normal chess game. They because if they had pawns as like actual little fights, there'd be too many of them. It would take too long.
It'd be a long goddamn game.
Right. So what ends up happening though is pawns, because they don't get into fights, they're real chess pieces, which means they delete any actual units from the board as well if you put them in a position of weakness.
Oh, so like a pawn could kill a queen without a fighting game fight.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's interesting because now pawns are a whole other level of the meta, where they're like, oh, a pawn is super dangerous. I don't have to fight. I can just beat you in the chessboard game, right? If you don't use a pawn and you get into a fight with a bishop, rook, a knight, a queen, or the king, you have to play a fighting game round, between each other. Or if it's a pawn, it just wins against the pawn in one hit. But that aspect of it really makes the gameplay a lot of fun. It's a real dynamic system to it. Now, the other thing about it is like, well, hold on a minute. If I'm moving my rook into your bishop and I want to kill it, I should be rewarded for setting that play up, right? And it's like, yes. So the reward is when the fighting game round starts, the rook is a character, the bishop is a character. They both have their own movesets. But as the attacker, I get access to a super that you don't have.
Ooh.
Right? You don't have any super. I have a full super to use against you. And if I positioned 2 units to be able to attack you and pincer you off, that second unit will be an assist for me as the attacker.
Okay.
So there's a real big advantage to being on the offense than on the defense. And if you're good, you can still fight it back, but there are situations where the life and damage you take on that unit will persist. So even if you defend and beat off the attacker, you're going to have to hold on to that lower life and then get attacked again, you know? It's a very interesting concept. Again, the game's called Checkmate Showdown. And yeah, when I saw the footage, I'm like, this is a brilliant concept. The number one concern I have that every other fighting game fan looking at this is concerned about is the fighting game good? And I can say, thankfully, that like there's some fun, wild shit going on. There's the ability to air dash and like cross people up real dirty, do some fun mix-ups, you know. If you challenge the king preemptively with a weaker unit, the king is a fucking beast with a giant hammer that can fight back, you know. And there's no checkmate until the king dies.
Oh,
right?
The king has to die.
The
okay,
king
that's very different.
The king has to die for the game to end.
Very
so
different.
If you have a checkmate setup, you still have to fight and beat the king with each of your units, you know? Furthermore, if I just corner your king and immediately fight him and you don't win with all the advantage you would have, you lose the game immediately, you know? So that's a whole other tactic to it that's really interesting. So yeah, there's other little things they've thought of as well that work out really well. Castling is in the game. It's very important. Promotion is in the game. You get a pawn to the end and you can promote it into another unit. A lot of that stuff is in there. But the whole thing is kind of set up in a way where the dev team is made up of a number of like competitive FGC fans and players and competitive chess players. You know, and like they're working together and kind of bringing this balance in of like, okay, if I'm a chess player, I can do this, but I don't have the fighting game strength. How far can I go? And if I'm a fighting game player, but I don't have the chess strength, how far can I go? You know, and you can get setups probably where like a good chess player can use the pawns in the meta to like delete units on the board before the fighting game player gets a chance to use them. You know, and it's a whole fun setup. And yeah, they're planning some good stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I want like when the game's gonna drop at some point soon, and you know, I'm gonna take a look. But like I know one of the ideas they're talking about is like having like a setup where you have a chess expert and a fighting game expert sitting together, playing as a team, and like, you know, you can kind of work both the board and the fights and see who overcomes. You know. So yeah, go check out Checkmate Showdown, wishlist it, and you know, there'll be more from that in the future. And yeah, shout out to the team. They're from Montreal. They're working on a fun ass concept. And like from the little bit of time I got in touching the characters in match, I'm like, oh, the rook is a giant grappler with an SPD. That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Right,
as
big
a wall.
Straight line tackle, big grab. You know, the bishop was kind of quick and nimble and had the ability to slide around and hit those angles, you know. The knight has got a bunch of like weird like stand energy that it can send out and attack you with, and
because it's weird and it moves weird.
And the queen is just a beast. She can do everything. She has amazing mobility, amazing attacks, amazing utility overall. And the king is just a wall as well, like a big hammer, just defender, and uses a pawns to like do his bidding as like little summons, you know. So the archetypes are really fun and well thought out as well. Yeah. So that was pretty much that. So, you know, beyond that, yeah, World Tour, played a little bit of that. That's going to continue, and just to cap that off, something I forgot to mention when we were talking about the whole putting switching over to FF16, and there were some people that has had further thoughts about like, Wooly, you should put World Tour on pause and stuff. And I something I forgot to mention in the discussion last week was that the Street Fighter 6 World Tour playthrough is sponsored by junk food. So this is
you should probably have mentioned that.
So in addition to
That's of vital importance, you psycho.
Well, I really want to play it regardless, and that all is very valid. But in the heat of the moment, I also forgot about the part where that entire LP is a sponsored LP by junk food. Shout outs to them. Get your snack box micro Wooly versus design available today. Okay? Not that it should matter.
That would have completely changed the tonality.
Not that it should matter, because I still stand by everything about this is fucking me playing the thing that I love, regardless. But in addition to that, so yes, that is going down. And FF16, we just started. We're getting our gears in place. Everything's coming together. Not much to say until we get a little bit further into the game. But
I have some stuff to say now that you're a little further in the game.
But this is a nice little transition point.
So what I'm going to be doing, Wooly, is that before I ever talk about 16, I actually skimmed through your VOD so that I know like exactly where you're at.
Cheers, thank you.
The last part you're at is where this is totally apropos of nothing. What's up with Discount Ralph Fiennes as the fucking innkeeper? What is up with that?
Do you mean Ralph Fiennes?
Ralph, that's how you say his name? Ralph Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes, yes.
What is up with Discount Ralph Fiennes as the innkeeper? Because it's not Ralph Fiennes, but it's like, it's really close. It's like weirdly close. I don't know. It weirds me out.
I was not expecting to be so charmed by all of the dry wit coming off of these NPCs. Everyone you're talking to is full of a bunch of moxie. There's just dry British wit. There's fucking Scottish moxie, Irish cheekiness. There's a lot of that going on, and I appreciate it. A lot of the
British Isles just colorfulizing.
Not to include Ireland in that, but I do. I fucking love the fact that the energy you get to as well is like, I was describing to Reggie how like you walk up to NPCs in an RPG from years ago and they just say the thing that has to establish the town you're standing in. Yeah. Oh man, it sure has sucked ever since the guards took over, But like no,
blimey, the vineyard's got lots of wasps on the grapes.
But here you're getting lots of fun little personality in it. If someone says, "Hey, Wooly, RPGs have been like this for the last couple years. Where have you been?" Then the answer is unfortunately in the dark. But I think of
one RPG that's exactly like this
for sure. Well, so I know that based on like from what I've heard about WoW as well, like MMOs like have a duty to make charming NPCs because everyone has to interact with them constantly.
Yeah. That's accurate.
Millions of people are going to be talking to you. They better be interesting to talk to.
They will judge you. They will remember that weird guy that is. They'll remember that the Conjurers Guild in Gridania is a pile of shit because there's a fucking mom outside going, "Please heal my child," and they're going, "No, the fucking forest spirits don't like your child. Too bad. Let them die." And you're like, "Wow, Gridania is like a fucking awful fucking place. Don't start there." But 16. I have a couple things to talk about 16. First, after Ralph Fiennes, not Ralph Fiennes, but Ralph Fiennes. The further I go into the game, I keep running into. I described the Pepsi Man situation to you last week. Yeah, to you and Gene, in which the 14 influence is like obvious and hilarious, but confusing. The further I go into it, the more structural I've discovered that it is. So I saw that you did the little forest section where, you fought like the ninja right at the end of it as the mini boss. Those are done. Those like set piece sequences are like very, very discreet, and you'll run into like, I don't know, a dozen. I've done like 5, right? And it's like, oh, it's a big action set piece. This is where the money is happening. right? And you'll fight a bunch of guys, and then you'll fight a little mini boss, and you'll fight a bunch of guys. And I'm looking at them, and I'm going through them like, wait a second. I get the flyby of the area, and then I fight a bunch of trash guys for 2 fights. Then I fight the mini boss. Then I fight 2 packs of trash, and then the mini boss. And then I fight 2 packs of trash, and then the big boss that has bespoke music. And I'm like, and I'm looking at the set pieces, and I'm like, oh, I have actually already done these. All of them. Like, they all map 1-to-1 to existing dungeons.
I'm surprised that upon beating the ninja, he didn't drop a 1-month free pass to Final Fantasy 14.
You mean the ninja that's using, like, the moveset that the 14 ninja uses?
That's the ninja I'm talking about, yes.
He even has, like, the same 3-hit combo. Like, it's like hilarious how like you just get to see, like, oh, this is where the Final Fantasy 14 guy did his thing, and this is where DMC5 man added his thing into it.
It's almost like the game is basically just like, hey, have you been paying attention to this big popular thing that's been happening recently? No? Well, here you go. Mainline FF, you know?
For your personal experience, you will have a actually pretty decent ballpark about how 14 feels as a game by the time you're done with this, all the way down to, like, the way the hideaway functions.
Okay, going back to the hub and doing all your cleanup shit and coming back out there. Yeah, I mean, that's like the idea of not going from town to town, which is the FF way, but
you still are, but you're going back to your main town.
But and that's not usually the way that goes, right? Like, you know, I mean, I guess
usually you're a pretty solid progression, and you're snaking through the world and going to different places.
Yeah, and like, oh, driving and getting back to the car is you know, like the way that the last game went, but that's what the CBU 3 knows how to do, I suppose.
CBU 3 also has, like, and you've seen just enough of it to start to feel it. They have a really, really, really strict way they design the flow of their game, which is setup, busy work, money, busy work, new setup.
Okay.
Like, that is the structure of every single thing in the entire game.
Okay. Busy work related to the money, and then busy work
post money.
Will
predate and follow the big money.
The big money. Okay.
And then the setup will be a minor money.
Okay.
And that just keeps happening over and over, and it's, like, funnier and funnier every time it happens to me.
Well, I mean, you know, as someone who, again, is immune to most breadcrumb game designs, money is a very attractive incentive that will lead me towards you. So, yeah, sure.
The other thing that I want to talk about, and I don't know if you've started to feel it yet, because the iconic challenge wasn't super far into the game, but it did give you a lot of stuff that would take a while to get into the game.
Yes, it did.
Like, it takes a good long while before you get 3 icons. And I have been running into an issue, and as far as issues go, it's pretty minor. But I have none of the assists on, and I chose the action-focused difficulty, and nothing is a threat in this game. Nothing. I have done one encounter in which I died, and it was an optional super boss, and then I beat it on my second try handily. And it is causing, like, a really violent disconnect. And the only thing I can compare to now for you is the battle with Phoenix. The battle with Phoenix is like Phoenix for Zifrit in the intro, and then the second intro is this enormous, massive, mega spectacle that is a pretty easy Panzer Dragoon level.
Sure.
Right? The complexity of the iconic battles is increasing linearly. Like each one gives you more stuff to do. So I recently fought Titan, which you saw in a lot of the promotional material for the game. Titan's the biggest one. It is the most epic confrontation I have ever seen. It is lavish beyond compare, and Titan couldn't hit me. I think Titan hit me 4 times, and one of those was me jumping the gun on a QTE and hitting the wrong QTE button. I used like 1 potion equivalent in that fight.
Yeah.
And like the whole time I'm like laughing and continuously saying like, Titan, come on, what do you got for me? Come on. And then going through 5 phases and being like, like no pressure at all. Like no pressure.
So,
and
yeah,
it's kind of bumming me out.
I suspect that this is a very clear, conscious decision, since it's, for a lot of people, their first time driving the supercar, right?
Right. Makes
Makes
perfect sense.
Yes, like they've been revving you up to this a little bit with, again, previous entries, but now it is you are behind the wheels of a fucking full speed fucking thing, and they don't want to immediately fucking scare you away with it, right? So you can do
totally
anything,
get that.
and you can go hard, but the challenge doesn't meet up to the difficulty expected of character action, because it's so many people's first time going
absolutely
into
that
this.
Makes perfect sense. On the flip side to that, I'm going through like I did like a section, I think it was the section leading up to Titan, and there's a mini boss. I'm like, okay, I'll fight the mini boss. I like no hit killed the mini boss in like sub 300 seconds. And like I didn't feel anything. I treated it like a dummy. Right?
Okay.
And I'm well aware of the reality that a lot of people haven't played a lot of character action games, or if at all, and that this new action focus is like a really strong shift. But there are like a huge and impressive and appreciated wide variety of things that you can do to tone the game down. You have story difficulty and action difficulty. You have a wide variety of accessories that will just remove mechanics and automatically do them. There's the auto combo. There's the auto dodge. The auto dodge one is by far the most busted. There's the auto dog one, which I'm tempted to kind of use sometimes because it just frees up a button.
But it's,
you can bring that game's difficulty from pretty easy down to a 3-year-old could totally do it, bro.
If you are like, I like Final Fantasy because I get to stop, think, and use the menus, you can put a lot of things on to help you breathe.
You can drag it down. But aside from there's nothing that I can do to the game to make it any more difficult. And I really mean there's nothing I can do to it. Because you could say, well, Pat, don't upgrade your gear, right? Or don't do this. And it's like, that doesn't make it any harder. It just makes it take slightly longer to kill the enemies. This game has the most good dodge ever.
It's incredible. Good. And you get such great rewards for using it. So
you get more later. The dodge becomes improved at a later time.
I totally can see how that's all set up. Counterpoint, to some degree, though. I know that 14 is a game where you're playing the super hard challenges and you have to have a team of coordinated people, and if you don't have everyone doing their job, you fucking wipe. But when's the last time you played a single-player RPG that really challenged you outside of the super bosses? Because I think knowing how to play them well is a skill that you develop over time, just like character action, and you kind of breeze through the average Final Fantasy game anyways.
There's stuff in P5 that kicked my ass on normal, and I had to do a couple times.
Yeah, but like there's little moments, little challenges that like might pop up here and there. And I know, as for me, there's a lot of like RPG knowledge I don't have that I'm like, oh, I'll hit a wall or something and be like, oh, whoa, that boss kicked my ass. Let me take a second try at it. But overall, I feel like I haven't really struggled a ton as someone who is already missing a lot. If you are familiar with FF as a franchise intimately and you already kind of know like more or less what how to handle the threats, going into the typical turn-based RPG, you're already kind of breezing through it and just experiencing the story to some degree. And the super bosses become the challenge, so it doesn't feel like this is super out of line with how it usually is anyway.
I disagree because in your regular ass RPG, outside of games that have like miss statistics, like you are interacting with the enemy, right? Like the enemy takes their turn and they hit you and maybe you heal it up or whatever. The way 16 is functioning currently is that most enemies aren't interacting with me at all. They're just like random
they're
attacking.
They're attacking the party. You mean?
No, I mean they're dead before they get to interact with me.
Huh.
Like random battles in 16 from the 1/3 mark onwards become like combo trials. They become vaporized, like instantaneously. And like I'll use Titan as an example. They've showed a lot of Titan. Titan did not hit me with a single punch in the entire encounter that I fought him. The enemy was functionally not interacting with me at all. And when you hunts, which is notorious monsters, that's the optional like harder content. The way that stuff is balanced, and what killed me is me running into an enemy that I beat it, and I got it down to 1% health, only to find out that a low health move it does instantly kills you.
Okay,
and I didn't
gimmick.
dodge right, and it killed me instantly.
Right.
And then on my second attempt, I did the same thing again and just beat it. So the way that difficulty seems to increase along a lot of the harder enemies in that game is to just juice their numbers.
Yeah.
But it's still really easy to avoid all their attacks.
So I would liken your skill level as someone who's like, yo, I'm looking for DMD. Where is it? Right? Like you have the genre of character action in your blood. So someone who has RPGs to that degree as well is probably able to breeze through a lot of what the game is supposed to put in your way as like a plot challenge, if you find broken builds and ways to protect your party, float into the air and cause a quake, or whatever you do with your blue mages, I know people like find ways to game the system and do amazing things with it, get builds going. I feel like mastery of RPGing would result in similar crushing of a traditional RPG in the same way that you would crush a game that is not presenting you with Devil May Cry level challenges, right?
You're completely right. And that's why I appreciate for those people that Persona, the Pathfinder games, Baldur's Gate, etc., have difficulty options for those people.
And this is why the action game here would be better to go, hey, if you happen to be coming into this and, hey, you already know this genre, we can rise to that occasion and meet you there. And if it doesn't have that option, it should be able to, yes. Persona already definitely has you go from you start out with like 8 different difficulties to pick from, right? Like you scale from absolutely just like walk through the story
there's very easy, normal, hard, very hard, and then insane,
extreme, or whatever. Yeah, so like the answer here is that the game should have the ability to catch up with anybody who's already familiar.
I'm just fairly confused because much like FF7 Remake, you unlock a new difficulty upon beating the game, which is remixed because you're coming in with every skill that you've earned over the normal game. And talking to people that have played it, it's like, yeah, it's a little harder, and then it plateaus out because you get everything you need. And it's like it's just kind of weird. The game has like from fairly easy to really easy, but really nothing. You can't raise it.
Good question from Gazbang Gobbling over there. How does it compare to Strangers of Paradise?
Strangers of Paradise is a really good example to compare it to. Strangers of Paradise is, I would say, the level of an average action game in terms of difficulty.
Okay.
I played through it with mainly auto equipping my stuff and, you know, looking at what builds, you know, what skills I wanted to use. And there were some fights that I had to fight 5 to 10 times and like, oh, that was a tough boss fight and I beat it and good. But if I wanted to, I could turn that shit down. I could turn it to baby mode. I could also, upon beating the game, expand it out to forever infinity difficulty like a psycho.
And that's Team Ninja, right?
Yeah.
That's Team Ninja doing what they do, approaching games the way they do, where they're coming from a legacy of like, no, we're trying to beat your ass, right? And then I think about how you know, when Nier as another Square game, right? But it's like, here's Platinum working with them to do the thing they do, and so like Nier is not the most challenging of character action games, you know, by comparison. But there's like a lot you can do to make it harder if you really, really want to. I think I guess the overall, this is Final Fantasy proper side of things is like resulting in them going, okay, we're mainly focused on this landing in everybody's hands and keeping it inviting to them. But I think teams that are, well, no, but if 14 has the hard difficulty, then anyway, incorporating extra.
Let me bring 14 into it for a second, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I actually talked about this very briefly right before we started, where it's like a lot of the fights in 16 feel like what the normal encounter would feel like in 14 if you didn't have 7 other people to babysit.
Right. Okay.
Right. And I think it was Chris Wolfhard, aka Mr. Fields, who responded with no, because the AoEs in 14 will actually hurt you, whereas the AoEs in 16 will just kind of tickle a little bit.
You're reliant on people to heal you from damage that you're gonna be taking,
right?
Regardless, right?
It's 14 has had like a really, really, really long history of not knowing how hard to make the main campaign, because skill levels can vary so wildly. There's been a lot of drama over. I remember when Stormblood came out, the final boss of Stormblood's campaign was actually like a challenge. Like you had to do stuff to fight it, and their forums were just like awash with furious complaints. Yo, why am I not allowed to play the rest of the game? I pay $15 a month for my subscription. Why are you gatekeeping me out of the end game because of this boss? And in particular, the best quest in Endwalker, and I think the best quest in 14 is called Out from the Cold, I think it's called, was kind of hard. And there were so many complaints about it being hard that they nerfed that encounter into the ground, and now it is no longer. So, In From the Cold is the name of the quest, and they nerfed that encounter over and over and over until now it is no longer fun. It is now a cool quest instead of the best thing in the entire game.
There is definitely something that narratively, breaks when you are into the story, but like the challenge isn't there on dramatic moments. And, you know, it's important to be able to make sure that people that have the skill to handle these things would be feeling the tension.
It feels like I'm fighting Frieza on Namek as SSJ4 Gogeta.
Right.
And like that has an appeal. That definitely has like a fucking like, ooh yeah, I'm gonna beat his motherfucking ass. But like it's so dissonant.
Right? And the thing is, there was a moment I remember where we both realized as we were playing it that like I was like, oh shit, you can use a potion on the ground in hit stun at any time.
Oh, you can use it while you're being like knocked up into the air,
annihilated,
and being juggled by something. Like
in the middle of a combo, you can heal. So it's like, oh, like there's not even like an Estus risk.
No, it is kind.
You know, so like that means that you can afford like way more room for error as well. That makes sense. That's a unique situation to be in. You know, and I feel as if it's when a moment like this occurs where it's like you just happen to be over prepared for what is a new challenge for a lot of people, you know?
So I think the last thing that I want to say, I don't think it's over preparedness. I think it is that enemies are too slow. I think the average enemy in 16 is too slow on their wind up. Like, you know, they everybody winds up to attack.
Mm-hmm.
They're like really slow. You did the iconic challenge, right? So you fought like human Benedicta.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the fastest enemy I have fought in the entire game.
I see.
And as a result, I'm just like watching them wind up. And the only times I feel like I get hit are when I'm having the Guitar Hero on easy problem, in which I'm dodging so early that I'm getting hit at the end of my dodge.
I mean, the situation you just described in 14, where the willingness to nerf it down and kind of like make it less fun based on the average person feeling it was not fun for them as it was too hard, is... It's an interesting problem to have, I guess, and I suppose like the idea here is New Game Plus brings your ability to, you know, you said like you keep your shit, you go back in,
you keep every single ability,
and then everyone gets new moves and the ability to go
and
harder as well.
And they remix they remix the enemy placement, so you're gonna get like mid game and end game stuff in like in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. But like the first run through, there's a limit to how hard the game can get. And, you know, which, again, DMC-like in that regard. But I guess, like, the question is what is New Game Plus going to look like when you do everything you can to make it its hardest? And will that potentially be satisfying or not, you know?
I think, like, my issue, I guess my biggest issue is, like, you can't make the game harder. You can only make it take longer.
Take longer. Okay.
Right, like I can tone down my damage, like, you know, you're trying to figure out how to do the most damage during stagger windows or whatever. But like bosses that aren't hitting me now are not going to hit me later.
Incoming damage is going up is usually what would be a factor, but if the speed and the ability to react and parry it is just all negated, then yeah.
Like you messed around with Titan's block in the iconic challenge, right?
It's fucking hype. Yep.
Yeah, it's really good and it's really reliable. Like the windows on that parry are wide,
and that's kind of that's where the remix to the boss patterns and enemy patterns becomes really important. And you don't want to just throw a blitz in there and go fuck you, you know. Interesting. Okay.
So overall, like, I'm loving the game, and I'm very much enjoying its narrative. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's interesting, and I think Clive's tits are huge. I think Clive is about as like skanky as a male main character as we have ever seen in anything. You don't have the costume. Eventually he'll get the box art Dracula outfit. You know, the one where he looks like a Dracula with the red shirt. Like, his heaving tits are out. His tight ass leather pants make noise when you run past the camera.
There are some aggressively slutty dudes in Grand Blue, but they're not main characters.
Right. No, like Clive is like look at my tits. Look at them. I can feed you with these. And you're like, whoa, Clive. Whoa, calm down.
Did see artwork of him standing there, and then I believe Jill was just watching and just kind of like, they're so big from the side.
Like, he is definitely the main character of a Final Fantasy game. It's impressive.
Okay. Yeah.
Unshockingly, I'm going to continue to play many more Final Fantasy 16s this week. So go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. Wooly, don't you look at those titles because they're minor spoilers.
Okay.
On my schedule.
Fair enough. That's when with the titles in general and thumbs, I try to keep that in mind overall for anyone who's like just scrolling past on the feed. You know, I'll usually, that's why sometimes I know, like, some people have said, like, oh, dude, I hate it when you make the title a joke instead of, like, something that helps me locate where you are. And I'm like, I get that, but I also don't want to spoil things if I can avoid it, you know, if people are kind of trying to dodge that. So I try to find, like, like usually like perhaps like it might be a joke about a character you're only gonna meet in like this later chapter, therefore it doesn't spoil what happens, but you know, oh, you met this person already, fair enough, you know, there's a little balance between that. So
also, I'm going to be playing a game that one Casey Explosion recommended a while ago called Bone Stasis. Wait, is that right? Is that no Stasis Bone Totem? It is basically undersea horror Disco Elysium.
okay.
Which is fascinating.
Hmm.
I'm very excited to try that out.
That's I like those words.
Don't it's it's a good time to not go into the ocean.
Fair. I mean, there never was a good time to go into the ocean.
You're right, but it's still a good time to not go into the ocean.
Yeah. No, the combo counter has not yet decreased. It's still there. It's not. It's
I
trying
don't trust the ocean.
It's trying to take people, man.
What I do trust is that I need a bathroom break.
Okay. BRB. Okay. Good time is only to take a quick word from our sponsors.
I love our sponsors. They're the best sponsors that anyone has ever had.
This is true.
You know this is the truth.
Always has been. This week, the podcast is sponsored by Stitch Fix. In particular, stitchfix.com/superbeast.
Can they fix this?
They can fix anything. They can literally fix anything. That's the whole deal. If they can stitch it back to, they can take your sense of fashion, stitch it back together, and fix it to be better than it ever was.
Listen,
right?
There's a high possibility I'm going to spill this enormous bowl of soup I have all over my clothes, and we'll need new clothes.
I mean, that is in fact a problem. How else are you supposed to enjoy your soup if you don't spill it all over yourself, right?
I'm
Clearly.
worried about spilling my soup on my clothes.
Right. So this is fine. We've taken that into account. Stitch Fix can dispatch to your location expertly chosen clothing that is stylish, super easy, fits your budget, fits your style, fits the exact kind of wardrobe size and everything you want, and just put together, by the experts. You can take a look. You can pick what you enjoy from the fix. You can keep it. You can send back what you don't. And you only pay for what you keep. So that is the way it works. They've got a couple questions you can fill out so that they get a feel for what your particular style and price range are, as well as your sizes. And just like that, they'll be working through over 1,000 brands from styles you know and love, and they're getting you head-to-toe outfits so you can be dressed to go. You can get a ton of different combos and styles to work with. And again, the experts know how to put together a look to make you look your best. So you can spill all the soup you want on the clothes you're wearing at home, and you can get together a nice outfit without soup stains, provided by Stitch Fix. Right?
Thanks, Stitch Fix.
There you go.
I appreciate you helping me with my soup problem.
They're ready for that. They can help you out. It's quick, it's easy, and it is tailored just to you. So you can try Stitch Fix today at stitchfix.com/superbeast, and you're going to get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. That's
25% off?
That's a whole lot.
Oh my god.
That's
you could use that money saved for soup.
You can do that. Be careful about spilling the soup. It's another thing you can do, but never mind that. stitchfix.com/superbeast, 25% off today. One more time, stitchfix.com/superbeast. Thank you, Stitch Fix.
Thanks, Stitch Fix.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by DoorDash, and they are in the business of getting you your food straight to your door quickly, easily, and without disruption. I like when you see
some of you ain't got no wife. Some of you are can't make no food. Some of you have no food in the house. You made mistakes. Some of you spilled your food all over your chest, and now you don't have any food anymore. You're gonna have to get food now. What better way?
I mean, all of those scenarios are valid, but also sometimes you just want to get something tasty from around the corner or from the place you like that's currently open, but you're a bit busy right now. That's where DoorDash comes in handy. They can get you your favorite eats from tons of partners that they work with, all your local go-tos, your favorite chains, the places that you love to eat from. They can get that straight to you. And you can also get the Summer of Dash Pass promotion. You can enjoy 0 delivery fees and reduced service fees on all eligible orders, making it easier and more affordable than ever to stock up on your summertime essentials. So yeah, it's not just about getting your favorite food from the restaurants around you. It's also the ability to get some, what are you missing? Some toilet paper? You need some quick paper plates or some napkins, something you're just short of or you just ran out of unexpectedly. They can get you that right away. And in fact, there's a great place that I've been able to DoorDash over to me that gets good cuts of meat, actually. Like they'll bring a nice butcher cut ready to cook. And that is always a pleasure because I enjoy getting me some some prime meat when it's nice, when it's coming that fast, right? The fact that the place has it ready to go and they're just like, oh yeah, here, wrap it in the paper and hand it off means it can get here in like 10 minutes. Like, that's ridiculously fast. So
hit button, get meat.
Sometimes when the thing you order is like is easier to send to you, you get it even faster than you'd think. Yeah, so you can experience a summer like no other. Best summer. Best your best summer with a Dash Pass membership from DoorDash today. You can sign up for the Dash Pass now. You'll get your first month free. When you use the promo code, you'll get 50% off, so up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your next Dash Pass order. This all applies when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code BEASTSUMMER. Ooh, I like that.
It's a good code. I like that code.
One more time, 50% off when you spend $10 or more on your next Dash Pass order when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code BEASTSUMMER. Don't forget the code BEASTSUMMER for 50% off your next order. Subject to change. Terms apply. Thank you, DoorDash.
Thanks, DoorDash. I love you.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Raycon, and Raycon is trying to get you out of the wired life into the world of the wireless, into the world of quality headphones that, can last and charge and just overall be easy to put on and take off in your pocket, and you don't have to risk strangulation, tripping, or even just the wire bending in an awkward way that creates a fuzz.
Let me paint a picture for you. You're chilling, you're listening to your tunes, it's plugged into your computer or your laptop. You're like, yeah, oh man, oh yeah, I'm listening, oh I'm wired, oh wow, woo, 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 woo. You get up, you forget that there's a wire because, why would you use a wired headphone? You turn, the wire trips you. Your laptop falls on the floor, and you go, oh no! And in your shock, you drop your bowl of soup all over your laptop. Now it's all destroyed. Just because you were using a stupid wired headphone.
I know.
There's soup everywhere.
I knew a kid whose entire family got wiped out by wires.
Wiped out. Full wipeout.
Just no remorse whatsoever. Complete and utter wipeout.
What would have had the remorse? What had the remorse or lack of remorse?
You need to get the wires out of your life. You can't be putting up with this. It's just too much of a risk, And furthermore, quite frankly, like, having that wire on the headphones, like, you just literally, like, you one day you go to listen, and then, like, oh, the angle was a little bit weird, and suddenly fuzz. Suddenly you're hearing a little crickle crackle. Why? Because the wires just gave up on you, and that's the first sign. That's the first sign that your family's in danger. You need to get the wires out of your life, and while you do it, you can get yourself some useful earbuds that you have a tap function to toggle between 3 customizable sound profiles, including noise isolation, awareness mode. Raycons have a 32-hour battery life, including 8 hours of playtime, so you can listen to what you want, when you want, for a really long time. Comfortable in-ear fit, and they're starting at half the price of the other premium audio brands, while sounding just as good.
Jesus. It's
there
crazy.
You go. So, save yourself, save your family, and enjoy the quality that comes with a good pair of Raycons. Create your own soundtrack with Raycon right now. Castle Super Beast listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/superbeast. That's buyraycon.com/superbeast to save 15% on Raycons. One more time, buyraycon.com/superbeast. Thank you, Raycon.
I love Raycon.
I say it all the time. Punch Mom's wearing them right now. Right now. So, loves those things. All right. And, last but certainly not least, this week the podcast is sponsored by Babbel, the language teaching program. If you want to learn different languages, you've got a lot that Babbel can do for you. It's an app. and it's going to teach you in ways that are practical, that are useful, that are easy, and
you could say something like "Kann ich ein Suppe haben?" if you wanted soup from a German person.
there you go. Or you can go, desculpa, oi, tudo bem? And then someone in Portuguese can be like, hey, you're all right. And then they can offer you some soup. And when you get the soup, you say what? Obrigado. You know? That, all from the power of one quick lesson that I took from Babbel. Just like that.
Huh.
I couldn't have done that until I did it. So yeah. The best way to learn a language is through immersion, living where the language is spoken and natively used every day, but it's not possible
that's
for
inconvenient.
everyone. It really
Forget
is. Teleporting is hard, you know? So the second best way to learn a language is Babbel. You can start speaking a new language in just 3 weeks. 1 in 5 Americans have learning a new language on their bucket list, so if that's you, you can check it off this summer with Babbel. You can start learning to speak a new language in just 3 weeks. If you're planning to travel, you want to learn how to speak like a local, you can learn that language because, you're hearing real examples of how it's spoken. You're hearing it from native speakers. It's not AI, it's real voices, and you can take a quick test. You can take a refresher after you've done a lesson. They've got flashcard examples. They've got fill in the blanks, little things like that are designed by real people for real conversations, tips and tools, and the things that are practical, accessible, and they're not going to be just like weird textbook examples. They're going to be things that you use and say every day. And they even got a little test as well to kind of figure out where you're at. If you're already kind of comfortable with a language and you want to go and brush it up or get a little bit more fluent, you can find your level, and then they'll meet you there and teach you what you need. Studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others continue to prove that Babbel is better. For instance, one study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is the equivalent of a full semester of college.
That's bananas.
That's insane. So yeah.
Or banane in French.
Ha ha. With over 10 million subscriptions sold, it's a real language learning tool for real conversations. So there's a special limited time offer. If you're a listener, you can get started right now with 55% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners who go to babbel.com/superbeast. Once again, that's 55% off at babbel.com/superbeast, spelled BABBEL.com/superbeast. Rules and restrictions may apply. Thank you, Babbel.
Thanks, Babbel. Well, can I take 30 seconds to turn my AC on? I'm getting the sweats out here, the soup sweats.
Yeah, that'll happen. Do what you got to do.
I'm not even gonna turn it off. I'm just going away.
Soup will bring the soup sweats. I like a good soup. Soups are all right. All right, here we go. Top tier soups. Here we go. All right. Pho. Tonkinese. Pho. Power Gap. And then we got some other stuff in there. I'm going to say we got ramens. We got clam chowders are pretty good. I'll throw in some classic chicken noodle.
What kind of color do you want your clam chowder to be?
I mean, I don't. You know what? I think I've only tasted like the white sort of kind.
I've also only tasted the white. It was good.
So I don't know what the red is like, but I'd be curious. You know, I prefer white, like when it, I prefer the like white sauce pastas and things like that, though. So
I would like it if we could, apply the Gatorade mentality to other foods, and I could like look at like red clam chowder and be like, I bet it tastes red.
Mm-hmm. It probably does.
I bet it tastes red.
Yeah, it probably does, because you can do that with pasta sauce. You know, like you're getting you're getting that tomatoey goodness. So, yeah, pho is busted tier. It really is. Pho, if I pronounce correctly. But there's some choices out there.
About pho, I'll be really honest. Like I've had some decent pho, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
Have you had it on the coldest winter day from like one of the best places in the city?
No.
Okay, because like
I don't think that's a fair. I really think that is like a wildly unfair standard to judge food against.
I'm just saying that the best I've had has been like, I remember, well, it wasn't under those conditions, but that made it amazing. I remember in the middle of winter, a big bowl of pho was so fucking good and kept you warm and was tasty and was great. But the best I had was actually in Alberta. When I went out to Canada Cup, and they took me to a place where they have like the bone broth, and like they put in some of the extra like beef fat into the mix with the broth, and it was like tastes and palates that like I didn't have the levels to understand yet, you know. I honestly think it's one of those foods where if you get the right preparation, like the quality can shoot so far up or down that like if you're like, I don't understand it, I bet you the best version of it, if you got a chance at it, you'd be like, I get it now, you know? Even if it's not.
But I don't think my personal taste of anything is any actual indicator of quality.
Fair enough.
Like that's I think that's the single largest aspect of my personal maturation as a person, and one that I fail to see in others that are much older than me, is I don't like it, therefore it is bad. Is not true.
That's growth right there. Look at that.
Like I think cilantro is a massive fucking goof that everyone is playing on the world.
Right.
But like Paige loves cilantro.
Yeah. I don't, it doesn't taste like soap to me, but I do get that bitteriness to it that like hints at soap, so I understand where that comes from. Like I can understand both sides of it, because like there's enough of a little like bitterness to it that is like, I'm like, oh yeah, if you have a very heightened version of this flavor that I'm tasting, then this would be really bad for you. Thankfully, it's not that heightened for me, so it ends up being good. I feel as if when it comes to pho, though, like that was something that I enjoyed as a kid, and like growing up, and like, you know, you're like you get to appreciate bitter things and all that more a bit, and like I feel like it's like that stayed good and consistent the entire time, and in some cases got even better, you know. But like the quality of the broth you get and where you go is the difference between like. It's honestly, it's not even on a 1 to 10. It's on like a -5 to 20, you know, because there's so many different aspects to it. Like I've had amazing broth and like bad noodles, you know. I've had amazing beef, and like the broth ain't great, but the noodles are the right consistency.
Yeah.
You know, there's a fucking million things going on.
And you also got to remember, I have a pretty terrible sense of smell, so my food opinions are going to be slanted incredibly heavily towards primary tastes and texture.
I will say this too, the other thing that you don't usually account for is like, you know how there's some food where you're like, that tasted good, but I feel like absolute garbage after I eat it? Like, pho is, and like usually that doesn't factor in, you know, the regret. Pho is heavy, and it sits inside of you, but it doesn't make you feel like shit. It just makes you feel full, but not bad. You don't get that, carb tired, like I don't get that way afterwards, you know? I feel like it keeps me feeling stuffed, but like for some reason, perhaps it's the amount of liquid going on, it doesn't make you feel as bad as like some other dishes can, you know?
I've had pho 3 times in the 3 different places in Montreal, and they were all in situations where the people I was like, hey, let's go get Vietnamese food. I'm like, oh, sure. And I go there, I'm like, that's fine. I don't feel strongly one way or the other. Oh no! Hello, wife.
Hey, sorry.
Here's a soup bowl. Thank you, darling.
Yeah, no problem.
Do you want the paper towels? Okay, here.
It's good. That's my tier list.
Like I would prefer that soup that my wife made over any pho that I've encountered.
Oh, well, is there a secret ingredient in that soup?
Beef?
Love. Who's been screwing with this thing? Yeah. All right. What's going on?
I mean, like drugs? Antifreeze. You know, antifreeze doesn't taste good anymore. Do you know that?
Hasn't it been established that they put in bad tasting stuff in
Yeah.
antifreeze
Can you believe that?
for years now?
The time to be an adult and be like, I wonder what the good antifreeze tastes like, just a little, is gone.
They figured it out. You know what else they figured out?
What's that?
If we go into the news, I am appreciating, even from a distance, the advances in anti-cheat technology.
Oh, this is a good one. I like this.
And every time we take steps to the future, I just want to take a moment to spotlight it, highlight it, point it out, let people know where we're going. Because any new ways that we come up with to make cheaters look like fools just feels good and warm in the cockles of the heart.
See, usually you say that and you're like, look like fools because they get caught. But this time's slightly more literal.
So the newest Call of Duty anti-cheat method was introduced. Basically, up until now, they had been using... There's been a couple over the years, but one of the most recent ones was quicksand, which is effectively something that makes people who are confirmed cheaters move slower and are thus easier to kill. And that was, effective at making them look like idiots. But the problem was that people having a normal Call of Duty experience would see people moving weirdly and get really confused by it and be like, what is happening? Why does that guy look all fucked up? And not really know that it's a punishment for cheating and go and think that it's actually the game just, like, freaking out. So they're like, oh, we should probably not make it so that, like, our punishment makes our game look worse to someone who doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's actually fairly simple. Do you remember way back in the day, Arkham Asylum, like, disabled, like, a bunch of grappling hook stuff
right
on the Pirate version, so that, like, the game was incompletable? That was, like, really funny, but it had the horrible backfire of tons of people flooding discussion about the game, saying it was broken and buggy and awful.
Before the word reaches out that it's like these people are actually just playing a cracked version, so it is what it is, right? When they rolled out the newest method of anti-cheat, it's being called Hallucinations. And essentially, in Modern Warfare Season 4, they're putting in a system where you will have people who are suspected of using hacks will basically have invisible, hallucinatory decoy enemies or player characters around them that no regular player can see. But if you're using cheat detection or any other type of like assisted aimbot or whatever, you will notice these players. And if you start aiming at them and shooting at them, you will expose yourself as a confirmed cheater, at which point you will just stand there and shoot at the nothing in reality. Effectively making you just look like a crazy ass bad player. That is awesome. Love it. It's great. Feeds into the paranoia and creates a nice little personal hell for them. You don't know what's going on. Yeah, PTSD mechanic, whatever you want to call it. The hallucination system is basically just like, if you're not cheating, you shouldn't be paying attention to these things that are not behind you. And I like the idea as well that it's like, if there's there's a trigger where it's like, ooh, you're a little bit suspicious. Let's make it so that like there's little characters behind you in the way, you know what I mean? Let's make it so that little ghosts are in your blind spots, but if you happen to be able to see in your blind spots, we know you're fucking cheating.
Hey, did this guy turn 270 degrees in order to headshot something that wasn't there? That's suspicious.
Awesome. So, yes, get fucking haunted, get cursed. And apparently, with that update, they've been talking about an overall, massive reduction in the percentage of detected cheaters and so on and so forth. So, cool. Always a fan of seeing what's next on the anti-cheat front. And if there are circumvented downsides and such, then it's okay. Just keep the Cold War going, escalate, and find new ways to clown on them and make them feel crazy. And then, of course, the most important part is get in those forums, screen cap all of the complaints of the unsatisfied customers who paid money for those cheats, and be sure to post everywhere the reasons why they bought the cheats and how upset they are that they got their brother's account banned. They just wanted to feel like they just wanted to feel what it was like to win for once.
Yeah, it was my brother's account. It wasn't my account. No, I'm mad because I is my cousin. I mean my brother. I mean, shut up.
Beautiful. Other stuff going on here. Not a bit of, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of a non-story, but just for anyone curious, there was a couple of interviews with some former Rare devs because there was talking. They were basically trying to talk about Banjo 3E, where it's at, what are the possibilities of it ever happening.
Is the answer that it's at nowhere?
So it seems like basically it comes down to the person, the Rare creative director Greg Mails is the main person who would be the custodian of the franchise to decide how that's going. But in a couple of interviews, they spoke to Grant Kirkhope, who more or less was saying that I would like to think Rare would be open if somebody found the right team, but I don't feel like that team exists. Also, I'm not convinced the audience is there either, which folks were a bit raising an eyebrow at, because that's kind of a wild thing to say when your character makes it into Smash Brothers.
I don't know, man. I think there's a decent ever-growing audience for bad games.
There's a decent amount of people that care about your game if your character makes it into Smash Brothers. I will say it doesn't mean it's a surefire fucking home run, but it certainly is an indicator of your status of more than just a scrimblow, right? Yeah. Yes. You've made it into the video game Oscars and you won. You get something there. But in any case, a number of other Rare people are more or less kind of interested, but just we don't know. It would be nice though. It would be cool. I feel like
Microsoft still owns Banjo, right?
Pardon me?
Microsoft still owns Banjo, right?
Yeah.
So that would make it fairly complicated by default.
It becomes an Xbox property if that's what they're looking to resurrect. Exactly. Anyway, like I said, not much to it. Just a thought that was
This feels like a saved you a click video games thing. Is Banjo 3 coming?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
It's not.
It's just more of an idea of just is Banjo a popular character that has an audience for it? And it's I think.
Well, that's okay. So even all my sarcasm aside, that's a fairly tough question because the last game that Banjo had to himself was 10, 15 years ago, right?
A while ago, certainly. And again, that Sakurai's preference for things is gonna push it, Terry Bogard and Kazuya making it in, as well as that's legacy fighting game love. In addition to influence and popularity. But yeah, I mean, I feel like with the likes of Ukulele didn't quite do it as far as the scratching the itch goes for Banjo-Kazooie fans. But I feel as if over the years there's been certainly enough of a just there'd be an excitement there, especially if the team would want to do it as well. Mm-hmm. I feel like they'd be able to. It doesn't have to be a giant fucking blowout return, but it certainly could be something. Anyway, again, whatever. Minor thing. There was, however, a couple of announcements, especially seeing as the Anime Expo 2023 was on. So we got a couple of cool things in regards to that. Trigger had a panel where they described essentially that they bought back the rights to Panty&Stocking with Garterbelt from GAINAX.
Hooray!
And so they're just going to be doing new shit with that. And they're also going to be releasing the even higher res versions of the Gurren Lagann movies with revival screenings. So just fucking hype all around with that. Always love it when, you know, a studio is basically just like, yeah, we made this thing and then the publisher wasn't doing much, so we just said, fuck it. So we took all this Edge Runners money and we just bought the rights to the thing we made. Like, that is awesome. I really like that. So fun news there. And yeah, I would like to imagine that like the success of Edge Runners is just letting them fucking flex a little bit right now. So that was a cool announcement. Gurren in fucking 4K is like, your eyes aren't fucking ready for it, man. Those colors.
I would like to see that particular nice shade of green a lot. Thank you.
Those explosions that are like better animated than entire seasons of some shows. You know, this 5 seconds has more keyframes going on than fucking life. Hell yeah, super cool on that. Also from Anime Expo was the reveal of the Suicide Squad Isekai. Wit Studio is working on a Suicide Squad anime. Harley Quinn, Joker, all of that. And, you know, this is, they ain't no slouches. I mean, Attack on Titan Seasons 1 to 3, Vinland Saga, Spy X Family. It is a wild announcement. And I believe I mean, man. It feels like, I'm remembering the era of like Marvel manga.
Yeah.
You know? And all that shit.
Thank you, darling. I appreciate that.
So, why the fuck not? There's some screenshots. And again, Wit Studios, you know, they're talented, right? They've done some good shit. We'll see what the fuck happens. But yeah. There's a picture of Joker looking like fucking Ryuk from Death Note, like hard looking like Ryuk, you know, and then a couple of other weird, like you're just like Amanda Waller anime mode, and I don't know what the fuck it's gonna be, but we'll see. Let's see, right? Yeah, Ninja Batman was a thing. Let's see how it when it drops. Why the fuck not?
Well, the only reason I can think of why the fuck not is that DC properties have had a weird, bad run of luck lately. Flash is now... Oh, whoa, hold on. What's going on? You just look like you're about to kill yourself. As soon as I said that.
Because there's a third piece of news, but you can finish what you're going to say.
It's now coming out that Flash is now wonderfully guilty of having made less money than had they thrown it away.
Yep.
Like had they actually just deleted the movie. This is a pretty weak segue, but I want to get there. Because the marketing budget is not going to get made back, so they should have probably just deleted it, and they would have made more money, or lost less money rather. Also, Hideo Kojima really likes it?
Yeah, I'm kind of taking Kojima's word right now as just, okay, good old... Listen, some would use words to describe Kojima that are not so fond when it comes to his attitude towards Hollywood. I have seen the term starfucker get thrown around in regards to the man who sits down next to two iconic actors and pretends to smoke while holding no cigarette. Just for
like one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
You know, but at the end of the day, like, I think it's clear that Kojima's film reviews on Twitter are for the purposes of, you know, being more a part of that scene, bringing and like hope. I'm guessing in some cases, he'd like to make connections with people who make some of these movies, and he'd like to be in that world. And a positive review will definitely reach out and, you know, get around to the right people in some cases. But maybe he really just enjoys the simple things in life. Maybe
that's what's happening.
maybe it's I don't need to. Maybe you don't need to overthink it. Maybe it's like, hey, man, as someone who's a fan of pop culture, who's put pop culture all over his insane masterworks, he just likes the simple things and can appreciate film for what it is.
There's no accounting for taste.
There is none whatsoever. I feel like every time I've seen a Kojima review on Twitter, it's always positive, no matter what the movie is, no matter what the circumstances.
There's only one that stands out to me ever, and that was when he tweeted the phrase "saw Captain Marvel." Period.
Oh, interesting.
And it was like, man, nothing to say at all. Like, no.
That speaks volumes.
It makes sense though, because like Captain Marvel was like so mid. It was like so like normal ass movie that like I can understand a guy like him that wants the zaniest shit in the world all the time was like profoundly bored. He did that to Indiana Jones too. Ooh.
Okay, and then a couple of pictures of like the ticket or the premiere or whatever. Yeah, saw this movie. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, speaking of deleting things, I certainly wish we could keep that same energy and redirect it to other places, such as the next announcement from Anime Expo, which confirmed a trailer for the existence of Gundam Seed Freedom.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
The movie.
Your favorite.
Coming out in 2024. It really is. It's a special kind of franchise that gets me to like, years can pass and then I'm like, where the fuck did I put that haterade? Like, I'm a reach in the back shelf. Like, I forgot about where I put it and mix it up and just pull it right back in and click play and watch this fucking thing and see Kira and Lux fucking staring at each other and be like, this piece of shit garbage still won't go away, and now they've given it even more money and a higher budget. I will be a hater till I die.
I gotta ask, is this like the continuing stories of Gundam Seed, or
it
what?
appears to be a direct sequel continuing the stories of Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny, yes. So it would seem.
You love those characters, right? Oh.
Absolutely. And you know, the themes of destiny versus freedom have been a long-standing part of the conflict in that series. So if we had a Gundam Seed Destiny, it stands to reason that we would then have a Gundam Seed Freedom, because fucking wah 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 wah. Like it's just anyways.
It's funny because I don't know anything about Gundam Seed other than like crying in the window.
But that's correct.
So
that's it. That's it right there. That's all of it. That's everything you need to know.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all.
It's a whiny, shitty character who can't solve problems being given like this spotlight. It's bad, weird art at some points. It's just anyway. It is overall a very annoying thing to see Gundam focus on when there's so much cooler shit in Gundam. But regardless, there's been enough energy throughout the years. I've gone on the rant. It's been clipped. Yada yada. Gundam Seed has its appeal. It has a group of people they're targeting, and those people are gonna get more Gundam Seed, and that's great.
Does it have a cool robot?
It has a robot. I would struggle to describe it as cool.
Really? Even wow.
I mean, there were reworks of it by because there's the original designs, which were rushed for the weekly show that was coming out at the time, which had like again a fucking like 2-second turnaround on some of the art. So like the cool robots in some cases were just like colored shittily weird lines that go nowhere, that mean nothing. Then there would be like competent mecha artists that like take a step in and go, let me try to salvage this, let me try to fix this, and you'll get like a Hajime Katoki version of something, and you'll be like, okay, I see what you're doing here, but that's not the version you're gonna get moment to moment when you're watching the fucking thing. You're getting the bullshit. Anyways, once and again, Stargazer's the only good part of that thing.
Don't you want to know what happened to Lacus Klein?
Yeah. No.
Or Rao Le Creuset? That's a fucking
Rala Cruz.
pots and pans company.
Yeah. What about Mula Fraga? You want to throw some? Yeah, all those names. There you go.
Man, these are terrible, even by Gundam standard.
Yeah. Stargazer, and go get yourself, the Astrays, right? There's a Red Astray and shit. That's true too. But fucking, we're going back to this well again. Because sometimes you need to just. I thought I was out of the game. I thought it was out of me, but somewhere deep down, there was an ember of hate that needed to be hammered back to full flame. The existence of Gundam Seed represents the non-existence of
something else.
Of something else. Rad. Like fucking Crossbone or some shit.
So is your hatred like of Gundam Scene like based off of like primarily opportunity cost, or is it mainly like time wasted as you probably watched like the whole thing back in the day?
All of it. It is a thing that I spent way more time watching week to week, following alongside of it with again other fans of Mecha that were just going alongside, hoping for like something decent out of it. And it was also a weird attempt to like kind of retell the original story, and it was just like the modern appeal thing is not the problem, because as we've seen, like Wing is fucking goofy, but in a charming way that everyone's like, Gundam Wing. You know,
Wing's got stuff. People like Wing.
Yeah,
I like Wing.
Exactly. You're like, it's that new shit
It's a little childish
with the goofy kids.
Whatever,
exactly.
But like, there's stuff in there.
And that's the thing I want to feel. I want to look at the new Gundam shit and see where it appeals to like the kids, with the designs and the music and everything. And I want to be able to be like, it's that new shit. Even like when it comes to going into like Iron-Blooded Orphans, I was like, okay, no, I saw enough of that there to be like, yeah, I see like how this is. I see where this gets pretty sick, and and the Barbados and all that shit, right? But like, it's just, this thing is just, it has so few redeeming qualities, if any at all. And then as time goes on, every subsequent entry just gets worse and worse and makes the characters worse and worse. And the writing is awful, and the art is awful, and the story is awful, and everything.
I have a question, William.
On all fucking, yes.
Is it really bad, or is Wing just as bad, but Wing is the one you saw when you were a child?
I would love it if that were the case and I were just as biased, but no, I legitimately think, considering the fact that there has been good and bad since, that this is a pretty fucking terrible one, man. There's standout examples. Some things don't hit, some things do. And it's not like a consistent from the oldest is the best, and as we go forward it's always going to get worse. It's not that. There's been ups and downs. It's just that, like, for all the things that, like, when you look at Wing at the time and you're trying to compare it to like the fucking the good shit or whatever, then you're like, oh my god, what is this goofy shit, yada yada. But we were young at the time and seeing this all for the first time. It's just now with the entirety of the fucking franchise to compare it to, you're like, oh no, that one's remarkably bad by comparison. Anyway,
I gotta say,
we gotta,
I can't think about Gundam Wing objectively, because whenever I think about Gundam Wing, all I can hear is Pat Benatar, because of the absolutely weirdly gigantic amount of anime music videos that were like set to Pat Benatar songs, which fucking rule.
I mean, 2-Mix is good shit, so that's catchy as fuck. I'm not gonna. You could make an official AMV if you needed to with the Gundam Wing stuff, but once again, watch Thunderbolt, move on. Let's get out of here. It's a stun lock. Let's get to more exciting things like the new Avatar game.
Oh my fucking god.
Shit. Speaking of,
it's exciting. I'll say that.
Speaking of the mid-aughts, boy, the new Avatar game. It's I haven't seen a trailer like this for a while, because it's a trailer for a game that's trying to hide itself from you. Like, you could tell by the way things cut and by the way they show off, like, it's that character you like doing an animation. So yeah, they showed off what's it called? Is it the Quest for Balance?
I don't fucking know. The Quest for Animations.
I mean, just it really does look like an Xbox Live Arcade game. We're going right back to that era. Yeah. It just, again, I feel
I'm excited.
I feel like I'm looking. You want the trailer for it? Looks like it's just you're seeing the animation of a game that has like maybe 10 unique things each character is gonna do, and we have time to show you like 1/2 second of each one. Jump, play the music, throw a logo out. Please don't stare too hard at it.
If this did not have the last Airbender IP on it, it would look like that shit in my Steam queue that I look at for 4 seconds and go, ha! And then click past.
So, with all the stuff going, the stuff Avatar related going on, that's, yeah, not quite selling it with that trailer, friends. But whatever. Alongside that, there was another announcement for a fucking dope-looking game with a name I fucking trust. Keita Takahashi is back with Annapurna Interactive and Uvula to announce To a T, which is the story of a child who appears to be born and stuck with a condition that forces him to T-pose for his entire life. And you must learn to overcome the struggles of being a T-posing child. And you're in this little cute art style world. And Keita Takahashi is the Katamari Damacy guy.
That is an incredible fucking idea that is so actually weirdly similar to We Love Katamari.
You know, and Watam and stuff. And so you're just a little character, and you know what his name is? His Teen. The kid's name is he's Teen, and he's stuck doing a T-pose, and he's struggling every day to put his clothes on, and he's got a little dog that helps him out.
Yeah, I would struggle if I had to like how.
And it's a journey.
What's his range of movement?
It's not very good, but it's a journey to learn how to assert dominance, right?
What's the exact title?
To a T. To a T. And he's just learning how to do it, you know, and before you know it, it looks like he might even have some special powers that are afforded to him as a T-posing dominant that, you know, has not yet learned the truth of his abilities.
Wow, well, you know what I've discovered is that title is insanely difficult to search for.
Unfortunately so. It's also lowercase, except for the T. But maybe if you use quotation marks or the word Keita Takahashi, you'll be able to find it. But yes.
That is...
T-posing teen adventure. The struggles of being stuck with your arms out. Cute little dog to help you.
I'm going to have to put quotes on this.
Trying to live a normal life. I want to look at
this game, but boy...
There you go.
Oh, yeah, okay, with quotes. Jesus Christ.
It's great.
Very difficult.
I love some Keita Takahashi. I like his the idea that he's like, I fucked off out of this industry to go make like playgrounds for kids. Mm-hmm. I just want to make toys and things that are fun for kids to play with. And it's like, yeah, man, there's a purity to that. And then if he's coming back in to do something, it's because he's like, I got a wild, wacky thing that nobody's thought of that I think kids would have fun playing. And yes, and it just happens to be a T-posing kid. You know, like
T-posing is fun.
Well, because you can see the exact like through line where he was watching someone making his game, and he saw characters being set up in a T-pose or an A-pose, and then he started having daydreams about what it would be like to be born stuck in a T-pose and have to live that way. because he's like looking at this character. He's like, oh, it's the character I designed come to life, and his first gesture is this. So, what would that, and you could just see him sitting there, drinking his coffee, staring out the window, thinking about a T-posing child, and how difficult life would be. So, yay for Tua T. Never forget that you're the perfect shape.
Not me.
Okay, well, body positivity unless you don't want it, in which case body shame. you get
No, that's fine.
You get the energy you want.
What about can we get an in between on body positivity and body shame and just like have body like this is fine? Like this is okay. Like it's not good, but it could be worse.
I guess that's like, what do the numbers say? Right? That's what it is. The answer to that, the answer to body, this is fine. Not okay, not great, not okay. Like Chernobyl. Is what do the numbers say? Body apathy?
Yeah, body apathy.
Not quite acceptance, not quite indifference. Body apathy.
Last time I got a checkup, my doctor was like, "Stop being fat," and I was like, "What?" She's like, "Eat less." I'm like, "Whoa, okay."
Sounds like I appreciate the hard-hitting, straight to the point nature of that.
It was hilarious. It was so funny I couldn't even have hurt feelings.
Yeah. I approve. I don't disagree, I get it. But it's what you feel, and look at some numbers, because there's some shit in there that's hidden and you're like, oh fuck, I felt good, but that stat was way bad.
Yeah.
So we got that announcement as well. Baldur's Gate 3 release date getting moved around.
This is like kind of astonishing. This does not happen anymore. It has been a long time since I've seen a release date get moved up by 4 weeks.
PC version moved up to August 3rd. PS5 version delayed to September 6th.
So they were pretty straightforward with this. They said that the PS5 version needed like an extra week or two for optimization, but the PC version is like ready to go, and they didn't want PC players to have to wait on a combined delay. So fuck it, it'll be out August 3rd.
Sick. Yeah, the move up is a weird one, but
I hope that the game is solid, because if it comes out 4 weeks early and you're playing it, you're like, this needs a fucking patch. Well, so then they're gonna look stupid as hell.
So from the trenches, if a game moves up but it doesn't have to, there are certainly a number of QA team managers that are like, why don't we use that time to polish things up a little bit more? And the answer, of course, is, well, because we need to go have the Gold Master ready to go, but we can at least get the first day patch or whatever downloads we come up with to patch it later on, and you can continue working on that or whatever. But you'll always have that day zero patch continuing regardless. But this is you don't see a fucking release date move up ever, because people will take all the time they can.
The quote is, reaching a technical bar that matches our design ambitions felt like the right move for the PS5, while holding back the PC version when we knew we'd be ready felt like the wrong move in such a busy launch period, which they are, of course, referring to the fact that Starfield is coming out in September.
Trying to clear some space.
I would.
Mm-hmm.
They also put out a bunch of other updates about like all the classes that'll be there and all the races, and it's a good list.
Okay. I was going to grab it for PS5, but I mean,
if you've got a good PC, there's no reason to grab the console version, because it'll have controller support as well.
Yeah, I just There's again like there's a couple things with because I'm playing Street Fighter on both PS5 and on PC, and there's a couple things like I keep tweaking the PC options to try to get a little bit more out of it because it's like it's smooth, but I'm running into these things, and so I'm like it's more convenient.
Do you have shader compilation on?
I did all of it. Oh yeah. I'm intimately familiar at this point with how to tweak the things, and I'm still tweaking to get like the maximum out of it. And at the end of the day, it's like the console really is just like the simplest situation. You just fucking boot it up and go. But
the main thing for a game like Baldur's Gate is that on the personal computer you will have the easy choice of mouse and keyboard or controller. Whereas console, you're going to pretty much have controller. And, like, this is the type of game that even I, who play everything with the controller, is like, you want a fucking mouse and keyboard. It is mandatory.
And my new couch setup can do mouse and keyboard, Like, I just, that's the thing, is it's a possibility. So, but yeah, I guess, I'll take a look and see. Play it with better options first on PC and probably stick by that. Okay. So
that being said, hey, maybe it'll play great on a controller and I'll just play the whole fucking game on controller. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much all I grabbed. I mean, I saw there was a new Naruto and Jujutsu Kaisen game, but I didn't imagine we'd have much to say, so I kind of just, left those alone.
Naruto.
There's a new CyberConnect Naruto, Boruto, generational, pretty cutscene, OC character story thing happening, and I'm just like, when do the guns and aliens show up?
Yeah. Later, near the end of the game.
Sick.
There's another piece of news that I wanted to bring up, but it's forgotten. So couldn't have been that good.
Okay. They did. Tsukihime is getting re-released. So if you want to play the original visual novel, you can do that. And I mean, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, they announced a Nier, I believe. Not actually Nier, but another Nier.
A character that happened to be named Nier.
A character that happens to be named Nier.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Are you familiar with a YouTuber named Yongye?
No.
Okay.
Wait.
So, I'm not.
Maybe rings a bell. I think maybe ever. I don't know.
So I'm not.
So.
I'm not familiar with his work at all. And it has been announced that he is going to be voicing Kiryu in RGG, The Man with No Name.
Okay.
And people were like, kind of like, I don't know about this. And he was like, hey man, I put my time in. I'm a voice actor as well. I trust me, I'm going to do a good job. And then a clip of it came out today. And he voices Poochie in English.
Oh shit! Yeah, okay, let's go. Yeah.
So a clip of his English Kiryu came out today, and I'm sure he's trying really hard, but no, it is a bad pick.
Was there a dub Kiryu back in the early first Mark Hamill Yakuza days?
The very first game had a dub Kiryu.
Yeah.
And he was okay. And then they brought that guy back for Yakuza 7.
Okay.
Like the guy from like 20 years ago, and he voiced Kiryu there. But I guess he's old, or he doesn't want to do it anymore, so he's not going to be doing like full blown voice acting. And the clip that I saw today is just, it's not what I expected.
Okay.
That's the emotion.
Okay. I feel like in my head, Kiryu just needs to be kind of deep and badass, but with a little.
You would think, huh?
With a little bit of softness, like a kind of you got to hit some, not the basiness of like a Steve Bloom, but maybe like some edge on it.
I would say all of those things are fine.
Like a
I would
Paul
send
Dobson.
you the tweets. However, I can't verify them because I'm rate limited. I think they should have gotten Gianni to fucking play Kiryu. That's what I think.
Now we're just playing favorites, but at the same time,
what's wrong with playing favorites? Gianni kicks ass.
I mean, I appreciated the JoJo dub. I thought that was pretty solid. It was fun. Yeah. Okay.
And as we can see, if you follow Gianni on social media, he'll voice anything.
Okay. Well, again, I don't know, but I have not heard. But yeah, okay, that is a thought. Let's see. Yeah, all right. Let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
We've got one coming in from
Oh man, are you just scrolling over all the dog shit emails?
Let's take one from Elena, who says, have some dumb, obscure Fire Emblem knowledge.
Hey Elena, what's up?
Dear Wooly and the other guy. Jesus. I know that's just mean.
I think I know who this is from, so they're busting my balls.
Is that Elena Manetta?
It probably is.
I see. There you go. Okay. Since I know Wooly loves his dumb and pointless but still interesting trivia about media he'll never watch or play, so he has something to say whenever they come up. Jesus Christ!
You picked this email out of a list!
Okay, listen. I might still play and enjoy Fire Emblem in the future, okay? My bad short look at that does not mean that I'm completely and utterly writing the franchise off for eternity. I'm well aware of my own shortcomings there.
Playing Fire Emblem's like learning how to change the tire on a car. You got to know something.
I might, I might do that in my own time. I might do it sometime in the future on the channel. Who knows? But I'm not like against the idea internally forever.
Oh, this is so good. I'm a big fan of this email. Please, more email.
No, you won't. No, you won't. Yes, you can spite. Yeah, there you go. Come on. Yes, spite it into happening, guys. That's gonna be.
Come on.
Yeah,
this is good.
Very good. I did a bunch of.
What's this email? I want it.
Sorry. Yeah. Let's avoid a chat fight. Like Sailor Moon Unicorn. Let me tell you what happened to Shozo Kaga, the creator of Fire Emblem. Shozo Kaga was an ambitious man. He pushed the SNES to its limits. Clearly wanted to push the series even further, both narratively and mechanically. He talked about his ideas often in interviews about how he'd need a stronger system to implement all his ideas, and players were answered with the Nintendo 64. Now, as good friends at Squaresoft will tell you, the N64 was an excellent system for making RPGs with large memory storage needs.
Yeah, right.
For some reason, though, he quickly grew unsatisfied with the early development of Fire Emblem 64, and he quit the company and started his own. He basically just continued where he left off, but changed the names and hair colors. So if you're interested in the adventures of Prince Barth from the hit series Shmire Shmemblem, be sure to check out the PlayStation classic Tear Ring Saga, formerly known as Emblem Saga, before he was forced to change the name during a lawsuit by Nintendo.
That's really funny. That's really blatant.
Emblem
Saga? Fuck off.
In addition to the name, other arguments brought up in court were how he used the same font and placement of the word emblem on the English logo, or how he waited until
God, this fucking box art is hilarious.
Or how he waited until pre-orders were done before announcing the name change.
Oh my God, that's so shitbag. Look at the box art. I just sent it to you. Like, that's just Prince Blarf.
Hold on. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so fucking funny.
Oh man. Da, 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 da.
This is a hustle. This is a hustle.
Okay. So waited until the pre-orders before changing the name. Shit, where was I? I lost my place. He continued to refer to the game as Emblem Saga in interviews afterwards, and he also talked about the game as if it were still Fire Emblem. He'd call it stuff like the 6th game, or reference Fire Emblem lore, like how the game took place during the events of the first and third Fire Emblem games. I'm convinced some of those interviewers didn't realize he was literally talking about Fire Emblem, because his company later had to issue corrections to some magazines for legal reasons due to the misleading information they ended up publishing. There was also evidence presented that he refused development assets from the now canceled Fire Emblem 64. So, in case you're curious, Tearing Saga has actually outsold the next mainline Fire Emblem, got a sequel on the PS2. Then the company went bankrupt, and he stopped making games for over a decade. In 2015, after Awakening made Fire Emblem the new hotness, he came out of retirement with a brand new Fire Emblem clone with a much smaller team and a budget using SRPG Maker called Vesperia Saga, not to be confused with Tales of Vesperia. Its sequel was released as recently as last year. TLDR, the Fire Emblem creator, quit the company so he could make Fire Emblem knockoffs instead, and it's a wild ride. That is amazing.
That is overwhelming, massive shitbag energy. I love it.
That is so strong. That is a powerful energy emanating. Like, sitting there, going to court. You know what that is? That is holding the microphone in your hand, looking out at your employees who look up to you, Mr. Belfort, and you're just like, I'm not leaving.
You know what it reminds me of?
I'm not fucking leaving.
It reminds me of this.
I'm not going anywhere.
It reminds me of a legal variation of Mel Brooks's best piece of advice for burgeoning filmmakers, which is when the producer brings you in and says something like, fire Gene Wilder, I hate him, or change this part of the script, or whatever. Just say yeah. So on Blazing Saddles, Mel Brooks gets pulled into the office by his producer. He goes, "You need to fire Gene Wilder. I hate that guy. That guy's trash." And Mel goes, "Absolutely, he's gone." And then he goes, "You need to take out these jokes and you need to make this more serious." And he goes, "Right away, immediately," and then just not do it.
Yep.
And then no one ever checked on him once, ever. And this feels like the legal equivalent of, like, he says, "Yes, I promise I will not call it Fire Emblem in the court." And then he turns around and then pulls out his phone and goes, "Okay, so Fire Emblem 6, right?"
Yeah. Fans of Fire Emblem, please look forward to the next game in the series. Just directly after the court, after the lawsuit, after the name change. I'm still going to keep it going. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's great. That's a good email. Good email.
And then going into hibernation and waking up when Fire Emblem comes back.
Made Fire Emblem. It's mine. That's fantastic.
All right, here, let's take one. No tag given, so I'm not going to dox your email.
Works for me.
Pal World needs to be a 9/11 for diehard Pokemon fans.
Yes.
Hello, Pat and Wooly. I need to preface this with two things. I'm a Pokemon fan myself, albeit I am no longer an active player due to not owning a Switch. Two,
right.
I am under zero illusions that Pal World will realistically compete with Pokemon.
Oh, that game's going to be trash.
That out of the way, there's a very specific kind of Pokemon fan that I want to see suffer. The kind of Pokemon fan that goes, "This is a ripoff" at anything close to Pokemon in execution. The kind of fan that has such an insane view of what copyright should be that they're genuinely wondering why Cassette Beasts is not being sued by Nintendo. I saw a comment recently confidently asserting that the reason games like this have been coming out in indie scenes is that Pokemon actually had patents on the concept of monster catching games, but then recently ran out.
That's nonsense.
I feel obligated to point out that Digimon, Dragon Quest Monsters, and Yokai Watch still have at least one or more mainline games that have never been localized, compared to Pokemon's only the rinky-dink spin-offs possibly staying in Japan. There's other shit I should say about how insane it is to have this view while being a video game fan because of how stealing ideas from each other is what makes games actively better, but I digress.
It's important, yeah, steal.
My main point is that I want Pal World to at least be functional enough, at least more than SV, to get a pass, to get press, and fun enough that it keeps press going. I want to get Hello Neighbor and General Mascot Horror tied together with kids. I want to see the type of Pokemon fan that I mentioned having a fucking mega meltdown at the game that does in fact have designs that blatantly rip off Pokemon, making fat stacks of cash because it runs better. Because that would be so fucking funny.
Yeah, I think Pal World is like lives on the line, because like you look at some of those designs and you're like, that is like a it's not like a fucking, oh, this reminds me of what a Pokemon looks like. It's like, this reminds me of what that Pokemon looks like.
I have to respect the spite energy being worked for good.
I like it. Spite's good. It's powerful. It's useful.
Right. It's not the power. It's not like, it's that, you know, how do you defeat the Satsui no Hado? You know, it's like, it's not the power of good defeating the power of evil. It's the power of nothingness. You know, you're taking a source and you're redirecting the force. The spite for a positive outcome. This is good. Good energy.
I think this is good. Yes.
Also,
I know the type of person they're describing, and they're insufferable. Like, you know how we look at Pal World and we're like, how the fuck are they getting away with that? Just change the emotional content on that. Like,
how dare they?
How could they get away with that? It's like, why do you give a shit? You don't own stock in Pokemon. You're not that cool guy who bought Nintendo stock to gate crash their investor meeting and complain about Splatoon shit. That guy's cool.
Like, I feel like if Pal World ever found itself under the attention of, let's say, I don't know, Gardevoir fans, for example, they might have a very different reaction to that kind of spotlight. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, know what you mean.
All right. Well, let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Nice little tone fucking shift on the...
Ugh.
All right, everybody.
Ugh. Have a good week.